What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Wardlow here.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC, and welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1. Again! On my birthday of all days. And now here's your host, Marsh. Thank you, Marv. Thank you, Marv. On your birthday of all days, who could have guessed? Cheers to his birthday. With me today, someone who may have guessed. Here we go. Bishop. How's it going, buddy? What's going on?
What's up, man? How's it going? Shouts to Marv. Happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, happy birthday to Marv. Cheers to that. Quick little sip on that one. Before we get into it, just real quick, it's just us today. Clump's under the weather. He's not feeling well. So we wish him the best in his speedy recovery of whatever thing. Dare take on Clump. That's what I feel like. If anything that goes inside of his body and tries to win, like, you're in for a fucking nightmare, pal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Anything that dares to go inside his body. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. We do have Koa inside saying happy birthday to Marv. Yeah, cheers. Happy birthday to Marv. Real quick, a little what's in your glass?
Yeah, man. I went with the old herbal tea, but I busted my tea bag, man.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy. You know what? I messed up because I put the bag on the bottom and poured the water on top instead of dipping my tea bag in, you know?
You gotta dip, dude. You can't just willy-nilly with the tea bag.
You know, I should have been delicate, tested the waters, little dip, dip, drop. But instead, I put the bag in there, poured the water on top. And I think that's where I messed up.
You rushed it, man. You just rushed it. You need a little finesse when it comes to tea bags.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I was pretty sick yesterday, so I'm still kind of coming over it. So I actually have like a Theraflu hot toddy over here.
Nice.
It's honey lemon Theraflu with a shot of Irish whiskey in it. This whiskey that we have, sponsored, not sponsored. What's up?
That's old school and new school. Put it together. Theraflu with whiskey.
Yeah. This stuff's called Busker, dude. It's 3 different casts to bring 3 different notes of smoothness. This stuff is so smooth that I actually been having it straight, I've been even having it warm sometimes too. So it's just
Nice.
pretty good. So I'm a big fan of Busker.
Yeah, Theraflu's got a nice little lemony thing to it.
Yeah.
Cut it with some whiskey. Sounds all right.
So I mean, it's a hot toddy.
Yeah,
Little
man.
Vicks hot toddy.
Nice.
You know? They don't want to market the right way, so that's on them. But yeah, what I want to talk to you about real quick, off the top, briefly, little news.
Is where to find me? TWTakespodcast.com at TWTakespodcast on Twitter. Is that where you want? What you want?
Yeah, that's where you were. Oh, we wanted to say thank you to Fans First Sports Network for keeping the lights on. Cheers to Fans First. You know, get it all done. We're only 6 minutes in, but Kevin Dunn's not with WWE anymore, and this created a lot of ruckus online that made me laugh. A lot of people talking about what they're glad is going to go away, what we can say RIP to when it comes to the presentation of WWE, and most people were marking things that have nothing to do with Kevin Dunn. So what it lets me know is no one knows what he does. That's how much he does. You know what I mean? People think that he's the director in a lot of ways, and in some ways, yeah, but he also is definitely not the one who does camera cuts. That is someone has nothing to do with Dunn whatsoever. And Dunn's never made the decision to continue to have camera cuts. So whether or not Dunn is there or not there, camera cuts can and will happen. There's nothing to do with him. But it's just kind of cool. It's kind of crazy because, you know, this all is on the heels of Endeavor taking over, TKO taking over, and their production team coming on board. And I guess what he had said in his memo, and it was kind of a like, I'm out. Like, it was pretty abrupt. Was more or less he didn't want to lose control. He didn't want to take input from outside influences. And I think that if you've been doing it for like 40 years without anyone over your shoulder at all, it's probably a smart move to just go, this is going to have a lot more growing pains than I'm equipped to deal with at this stage in my career.
Yeah, for sure. That tracks. I mean, you don't want, hey, we'll keep you on, but we're going to change what you do when you're in a leadership position like that, when you're that high up.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, it's like asking the head coach of a football team to now be like an offensive coordinator instead. You know, it's a step down, but you can still call plays. You know, like it's one of those things where you are in charge, but are you in charge? You get to run the show, but you're going to run it this way now. It's like,
yeah, you're running it the way we want to now, not the way you want to, though. But even then, I heard some of the biggest criticisms people had of him that were like valid, were people who were in the business, was they thought he would overreach, right? That he's a TV production guy, but then he would tell Vince, I don't think this person's going to get over, or I don't give this person that much time. And like, he would try to make creative decisions on the product and not just the visual aspect of it all. So I do understand that could be a massive overreach. And especially at a certain point, I wonder if he was still saying stuff like that and he started being told like, dude,
gotta chill.
Stop. Yeah, we're not taking that kind of direction from you anymore. Like,
Well,
Vince you had Vince's ear, you don't have Triple H's, you know?
Yeah. Well, it could also be the maybe it was a contract run out after acquisition, right? Like, hey, you can stay on through the end of your contract, but that's it. Or, sometimes like if a corporate company buys an entity, oh, well, that staff has to stay on for a calendar year, or management needs to stay on for 90 days until we can find replacements, maybe it was something like that, so could be a million things because we just don't know. But Kevin Dunn not being there, it is kind of crazy that the institution of what we knew for so long is now broken down. It's like when Earl Hebner left. It's like, well, they used to say senior referee Earl Hebner. And then even when Mike Chioda left, it's like, well, they're not even telling us who these referees' names are. Like the only one we know is Charles Robinson. And because you have an affinity for refs and because of NXT, we knew who Jessica Carr was, and then even Asia Smith got changed to Daphne LaShawn. But that we didn't know her name on TV for so long. A lot of these guys, so that institution, as that changes, like it's really interesting to see what happens next. And I'm curious what what will be different without him being head of production.
Yeah, I'm really curious
If anything,
looks different.
Yeah.
My hunch is that we're not going to see anything that lets us go, oh, they must have a new production guy in charge. I mean, like, I have a feeling it's just going to keep going the way that it's going. I mean, and it's just also funny to me that he gets a ton of fucking hate online for shit that we just don't know about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know all that much about him as a person, and if some of these quotes I've seen are real, you go, oh, that's shitty. Like, I guess he had said something openly about Becky Lynch, that he didn't think she looked like a champion or wasn't pretty enough to be a champion or something like that. And you go, that's a shitty thing to say about anybody, I think, realistically.
Right.
But I mean, but I don't know who said it or reported it. If it's true, that's dumb. If it's not true, then I don't know where it came from. But people hate people that they don't know, and it's crazy.
The hate for Kevin Dunn just stems from he's the only name we ever knew in production. So
Yeah.
it's like if you say someone else's name, it would be Kevin Dunn and Jeremy Borash or whatever. Like, you know, like when WWE can't book, that must, and then they find out that each match has a different producer or agent. That it's not WWE in the whole, because when you say WWE can't book, you're not talking about matches, you're talking about stories, right? But when you get a great match, who produced that match became a thing because there was good spots in the booking. You know what I mean? So it's like you try to find out these little things to hate or like, and my credit, I guess. I just take what's on TV and go, okay, I believe I came on episode 1 and apologized for the mess. But no, I came on episode 1 and said, wasn't Survivor Series when the camera looked like it was happening differently? So they play around with production all the time, different camera shots here and there. They try to figure out how is this going to look better. So, I don't know. It could be anything, right?
Remember there was that while they had those 8K cameras? I think it was during the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, those things were crazy. Those Roman entrances were bananas.
Dude, it was hard to tell if it was a video game after a while.
Yeah.
It was nuts. So, yeah. So, I mean, whatever. Good riddance or good luck. I don't know who he is or what he did or all that. I know some stuff he did not do is what I do know. And so it's funny to me people hate on him. But, yeah, he's gone. And I think that people are going to try and probably write down the name of the guy who is taking over for him so they can blame him for absolutely everything that they can think of. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I doubt. I mean, I've said this about AEW for a while. Like, if they just position their cameras differently and not show, someone blading or not show this particular. That's what matters in wrestling production, right? Is where's the camera position when the wrestling's happening? Other than that, man, it really doesn't matter who's doing what. And WWE does a really good job at positioning the cameras to cover up these spots that we're not supposed to see. So I don't imagine that changing in any way, shape, or form.
I also think that it's like Triple H has said over and over again, this is a machine. There's not one single person who's like in charge of all things or whatever. Because when you think about AEW and their issues with production, and I do think it's gotten somewhat better, but they have Mike Mansuri over there who was doing all of those, the exact same thing for NXT, and he did it on Raw and SmackDown for a while too. But he was largely a part of the NXT one. And like his whole thing was that he ended up leaving because Kevin Dunn was never going to leave. So now you wonder if he wishes he'd stayed, but I mean, probably not. He's probably happy with what he's up to. But when you have somebody who has the know-how and the wherewithal and has been doing it on that level for a long time, and then they get somewhere else and it's not the same and it comes off different and you're seeing holes in it, just kind of solidifies that it is a team. You know what I mean? It's not up to one person to make all these things right, So yeah, Kevin Dunn's gone or whatever. Was there any other news that you saw going on?
No, I mean, some stuff pops up all the time, rumors and stuff that's not quite substantiated. I believe even the Kevin Dunn stuff came out a couple days before it was even announced by WWE. So, there's some, supposedly the Jacksons are leaving AEW, but that's been a rumor for 3 months. Same thing with MJF. And, I mean, other than that, the Tony Khan Jinder stuff has been awesome. It's hysterical.
So funny.
Like, honestly, you know what? Because it's been the WWE partnership accounts that have been making the noise. Like it was USA Network that that tweeted what was the cage match rating, and that's what set Tony Khan off.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one that Fox put up? The Fox WWE account, they put something up too that was just a troll and a half for AEW.
Oh yeah, that was
what was
back.
it?
I forget what it was. Yeah.
But it's not even WWE accounts that are pissing people off. It's the extension accounts.
Yeah. It's absolutely their partners and stuff. And it's so funny that Tony's just that sensitive.
Yeah, because
You know what I mean?
and it comes with insecurity, right? Like, for instance, myself, like my ego, I necessarily don't have one, but it's really sensitive when I'm insecure. So when something comes up that like really bugs me, then I'll act just like Tony Khan does. Like, wait, why are you attacking that insensitivity in me? And that's what's happened to man. So funny that he's that sensitive.
Dude, fucking meltdown about Jinder Mahal, and someone even tweeted that they don't want to hear that Tony's a bad booker anymore. He doesn't know how to make stars because he single-handedly made Jinder Mahal a star the other night.
Nice.
And it's funny, and I get that, but it's also funny too because like there is a huge section of the WWE audience that has shit on Jinder for a long time, and everyone started coming to his defense, and it was so fucking funny. So funny. But then Tony and Eric Bischoff started going back and forth, and then people thought they were slam dunking on Bischoff because they're all like, but you said this during the Monday Night Wars, so aren't you dumb and a hypocrite? That was on national TV. And it's like, they were worlds apart. Like, this person was actually a threat to Vince's empire during that time. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, that's what, and Bischoff just tweeted that today. He said, yeah, I said that while we were going head to head prime time and beating them in the ratings. So it's not like we were saying it from afar and judging Mondays from Wednesdays and Fridays from Tuesdays and all that shit. This was head to head in prime time.
Yeah. Because that was the whole thing too, right? You can't watch both. And I found out a lot of people did, watch both. Because that was one of the things when the ratings shifted, that there was a lot of discussion and arguments about were there really 10 million people watching both shows, or where there was closer to like 4 or 5 million who were going back and forth so much that it was registering multiple times.
That's right. I just found the Fox one. So WWE on Fox, they quote tweeted the Jaguars playoff tickets are now on sale with the Kurt Angle meme of him staring his eyes wide open, basically the second after the Jaguars were eliminated from the playoffs. Like, when the Jinder stuff happened, it made me think like when WWE or USA Network tweeted what was the cage match rating for Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins for NXT. It just made me think like, all right, is this a direct order to troll these motherfuckers? Because it's getting hysterical now, and I love it. Like,
I think it was just funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's just so funny to everyone because of how childish Tony is. Like, if you think that Vince would have been even, he wouldn't have paid so little mind if they said, hey, someone tweeted about this match rating. He'd be like, guys, get on topic here. We're talking about a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's what the fuck are you talking about? We're working here. You know what I mean? But Tony's never got that we're working here attitude.
Right.
Which is why he's always getting worked. But he's so stupid. It's so funny, dude. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, if you want AEW to succeed, you got to hope that they get the PR team. And as much as I love AEW, Tony got to stop doing this and the other thing. I am so far removed from giving a shit about AEW's existence. And I don't want them to fail, but I just don't care if it does. Everything they do is so funny.
Yeah.
On the outside of the screen, that it's more funny to watch the brand than it is the show. You know what I mean? Like, I'm way more entertained about what happens off TV. So yeah, I don't watch the product, and they're not putting on anything that I give a shit about. And yeah, sure, more people can make money, let them make money. It's not up to me to determine. I also don't want more McDonald's in my neighborhood. I know it doesn't create jobs, but I don't give a shit. So
right. Right. No,
I'm just
it's
not going.
laughable, and we definitely don't have to go down that path because we could shit talk AEW all day. The fact does remain the same. It's a place for a ton of people to make a ton of money, and that is more than okay. But do not call it good when it's not, and do not cover up the fact that the flaws exist. If people stopped getting injured, I would watch the show longer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If
Yeah.
the rumors about Mercedes Moné potentially going to AEW, people trying to call it a game changer, the women's division would be on fire. I've said this on my own show, the Terrible Wrestling Takes Podcast at TW Takes Podcast on Twitter. If Roman Reigns went to AEW, I would not watch.
Yeah, it doesn't fix it.
Why? It doesn't fix it. You don't need stars. You need production value and storytelling, and they don't have it, and it doesn't change. It was what I was calling out with the Hangman Omega storyline that happened, right? Oh, long-term booking. No, it wasn't. It wasn't cohesive. The video package they put together, and by the time the match happened, it made sense. But it's 3 years of mixed match storytelling for whatever reasons, and it was bad. And the matches weren't good. Exploding barbed wire match. Like, it's the excuse upon – no, it's not good. Change your production, change your storytelling, and you will be fine. You will compete to some level, but they're not doing that, and the show stinks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's over there. It's not changing anything. One of my favorite things about Tony Khan is how much I love Herb Abrams stories, and I just can't wait till we start getting those when everything is all said and done. Herbo Turbo, he's called himself Mr. Electricity. I want Mr. Electricity t-shirts for Tony Khan now. That's what I want. But yeah, the his pettiness is so funny, and I love pettiness, so I know when I see
when Jinder responded with "Who the fuck is Hook?" I'm like, that's amazing. It's done. It's over now. It's over now. And this is exactly why I told you. I told you, and I told you, and I told you I was right. I was right. I was right. This is exactly why you give Jinder the title. He is forever a WWE champion, and that you can never take away. It's now perfect, especially with the AEW bullshit. And again, Bishop was right. Tony was wrong. He said it's hysterical how he phrased it. He said Jinder had not won a match in 364 days. And actually on day 364 of counting back when he posted that, he won a match on TV. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tweeted it with the screenshot from Pro Fight DB. On January 10th of 2023, he beat Julius Creed on NXT. Yep. Yeah. Not a house show on TV. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was a good match. Jinder is so fucking good. And we can jump over to that too, just because we're already on the topic of it, and then we'll jump around. But the promo he even had with Seth Rollins was good, dude. His promo with Rock was so good. But yeah, I don't see, honestly, at this moment, any good reason to not put that title on Jinder. Even if he doesn't hold it to Mania. You know what I mean? Like, give Seth something to do. What if he's in a literal program with Jinder? And he finally gets it, right? But like, I don't see any good reason not to put that title on Jinder for at least a month.
It's honestly 3 weeks or 2 weeks. No, well, are they going to fight at Rumble?
No, they're fighting
Monday,
at Raw.
Right? Yeah, on Raw. So yeah, dude, 2 weeks. Do it on Raw. Take it off on Rumble.
Yeah.
Like have it happen. Because like you said, Seth has been so stale since he won it, and the title hasn't meant anything. Now you put that fire under Seth and re-legitimize Jinder as a 2-time WWE champion. Fuck,
dude,
come on,
amazing. Can you imagine how much you can troll other people?
Yes,
dude, the troll factor for Jinder.
Oh, it'd be great.
Fucking telling Cody good luck on your story as he's sitting there with the fucking title.
Oh, your story won that already. I'm champ number 50.
Yeah. Can you imagine him like looking face to face with Drew?
Right. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Dude, it'd be so fucking good. So good. Like, I just don't see any good reason not to. Because I think that he would be, he could provide an edge to that title that would be so fucking funny and such an asshole thing that you can't wait for the title to come off of him. And when Seth finally does, you finally feels like he did something. Yes, he took the title off that idiot. You know what I mean? But right now, he just won the tournament, which also made before I let you go real quick, it also made Seth's whole promo stupid. When he said, I took this title, it didn't even exist last year. It made it the most sought after thing in all of entertainment. And I was like, but it's clearly not. No one calls you out almost ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Rock didn't show up to say, I want Seth's title. He said, I want head of the table. That's not even a title. You know what I mean? Your championship is so not most sought after that even someone's moniker is more sought after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to your point, Cody's on the same show and says that that's not even a title that I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. No, what I was going to say is when you were talking about, Jinder taking it and giving Seth that energy to get it back, think about everyone else he would pass over. How much more intense Drew gets, how much more intense CM Punk gets, Jey Uso, line them all up, Sami Zayn. What are you talking? How did he get this title before I got my shot? He hasn't been. All of that can now come out from it. Again, that's why I like to show me the thing that we don't think was going to happen. Gunther at the Royal Rumble last year, for not because of the hate for Cody, but could you imagine if he won and Cody didn't? Now you have Cody distraught and needing to build towards WrestleMania. You get a surprise of Gunther actually winning the Royal Rumble. Like, you can't predict what that next thing is. So if Jinder does win, then you have an opportunity to go, holy shit, what happens now? Not, we're still leading towards CM Punk and Seth. We're still doing this. You just, boom, you veer off on the path real quick. Oh, shit, here we go. Come back around. All right, now we're back on track to Mania. That 1 to 2 months of we don't know what's going to happen is awesome.
Yeah. Dude, and I've heard people trying to say that Seth versus CM Punk would be the biggest match outside of Rock versus Roman. And they're trying to say they're not being biased about it. It just is what it is. But it fucking isn't. Like, the idea, because here's the thing. Because there's also the speculation. Oh, fuck it. We'll just talk about stuff. You could always get Randy could win the title at Rumble. Cody could win Elimination Chamber or the Rumble, face Randy for the title. Roman faces The Rock because they're just going to do that. And then you also have Seth versus Roman. Or not Seth versus Roman, Seth versus Punk. The idea then being that Cody Randy would be the third most important match of the weekend. There is so much more story to Cody and Randy, and Cody is so fucking over, and Randy is so fucking over. I think that it's these CM Punk super fans that don't understand how biased their fandom is, that they want that for their guy so bad that they're doing the exact thing that they're claiming other people are doing, right? It's you want Cody so bad, you're not even looking at over here. You want Punk so bad, you're not looking at reality. Like, there's a huge fan base right now that knows almost nothing about Punk, just that he's back. And he's cut a couple of promos. He hasn't had a match that we've seen. There's a lot of people who don't know who the fuck he is or why he's important.
Yeah.
Right? They have a bigger fan base right now than they had 2 years ago, which means you have people who've only been watching for the last 2 years. We know this. So those people are invested in Cody and Randy. The only people invested in CM Punk are the guys who liked AEW because Punk was there and the guys who liked Punk 10 years ago. That is it. Anything in between doesn't care about Punk right now. So Punk has a lot of work to do to become the second biggest match of the card. You know what I mean? Not
no,
Seth,
absolutely.
Punk.
No, as soon as you said it, I'm like, okay, I'll vibe with what they're saying, right? Let's say Punk is most important. Well, how is Punk's surprise pop this past night on Monday Night Raw, right? That surprise, his music hit, we didn't expect him. It wasn't coming up next, none of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compare that noise to LA Knight on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Cody, when he's not announced, to Roman Reigns, even when, you know what I mean? Even when we know he's coming and he's been this drawn out, the sound he gets when that music hits. The Rock, when he came out, you already have, okay, so let's say Rock's the B-side of Roman Reigns. His pop's louder than CM Punk's. LA Knight, who's not even fantasy booked into WrestleMania yet, his pop's louder than CM Punk. And Cody, his pop is louder than CM. We knew Randy was coming back. Listen to that at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Punk and Randy were about here. Punk maybe a little bit higher because really nobody expected that. But it wasn't much. And then even Randy, when he comes out on SmackDown unannounced, his pop is crazy. So at least from an in-arena standpoint, fuck Twitter, fuck us talking, all that stuff, in-arena response, Punk is not in the top 3 of the B side of what a match could be.
Yeah.
The Rock's
not even the top 3 reaction of the night.
Right. So sorry, but he hasn't built that equity on TV and in the arena.
Yeah.
He just hasn't. I hope he can. We talked about it every time. Like, we can talk all the shit we want. We can't get rid of him. He's there. So I hope it gets better. I hope I have something to care about. And honestly, Monday, I know you probably didn't watch this segment, but him and Drew on Monday was the best thing both of them have done in 5 years. So I don't know. That's Monday. We didn't even talk about it yet. Your show.
Do you want to just talk about it? I mean, fuck,
Sure.
we can come back to SmackDown.
Yeah.
More stuff happened on Raw. Let's just be honest about it. Let's keep talking Raw. Yeah, honestly, I watched the CM Punk Drew McIntyre promo 3 times. I watched it. Producer lady came out for lunch, and I said, "You got to see this." And then today, I was like, "I'm gonna put that on again." I will say, CM Punk trying to say that he was gonna knock Drew McIntyre's teeth down his throat was Tony Khan levels of hysterical. No one is afraid of your punches, dude. Nobody. I would gladly, hands behind my back, take a punch from you. No, but we've seen your punches, dude. It's fucking funny. You punch like Gumby, dude. You were so bad at punching, someone else got fired for not beating the shit out of you worse than you did. So bad at punching. So fucking funny. I honestly, look, I talked a lot of shit about Drew McIntyre. It's what I do, right? I don't want to fight that motherfucker.
No, I don't either.
Like, look, I've talked about the disconnect. I've talked about wanting to love and hate in them and just wanting to turn heel and talk about things not working. I'll tell you one thing. If that dude's in a bar, I'm going to very politely buy him a drink and sit in the corner and hope he's never heard me talk. Because I do not want to fight him. I do not want to anger him. He's probably a really fucking cool dude. I've said that a bunch of times too. Every time I criticize, I say that I get every impression he's a really cool guy. I think that's part of the reason why he's been around so long. When things don't work, people want it to work. Look at Dawkins. Trash at everything. Been around for a decade. So, must be a great guy. Must be.
He didn't deserve that shot, man. He didn't deserve that shot.
That's my bad, man. That's my bad. Sorry about that. I didn't have to go that way, but I did. But Drew, got to be a great guy. The idea that Punk thinks he can outfight Drew McIntyre in a real skirmish, fucking hysterical. No chance in hell. Just in time coming through saying cheers, my dad bar friends, and cheers to the just in time boys. Is he still living with his brother? I know they moved. They moved together.
Okay, no, I don't know. I don't know. Actually, me and Justin haven't chatted in a while.
No,
you know, every time we check in, you know, he's got a lot of stuff going on, so just kind of let him do his thing. Yeah. Rooting for you, Justin. Though we got your back.
None but love. Yeah, I do think that was Drew's best promo in a long, long time. Yeah. And look, we talked about it with Seth. There's been so many disconnect things. It feels like these guys are happy to do the work and are happy to dig into real feelings here because Drew came off pretty authentic here too. And Punk did not. Drew's story about Punk walking in and calling himself a locker room leader, I don't know about you, but that's like the 7th or 8th time I've heard that. And I don't mean like Drew saying it. I mean, 8 people have said it in other stories. Oh, he came in and said this, and he called himself a locker room leader. Cody was making fun of him about it before he even came into AEW. I've heard Booker T make fun of him about it, like when he wasn't wrestling at all. Like, these guys have brought it up that he was that way. So the fact that it's out there in the zeitgeist and we know that he did do those things, it's really strange to me that he goes, I've never done that. Well, now you're an asshole, dude. Because what we know is that there's a lot of people with nothing to gain at the time that they said the story, tell that story. You know what I mean? Like, we've heard it. And no, I'm not buying your bullshit. So yeah, I thought Drew did awesome here. If you ask me, it was a real dressing down for Punk. I thought Seth's was too. I don't feel like Punk, I want to say, isn't holding his own, but he's not the walk away topic of these conversations.
Yeah, I think a little vindication. For me, going back and watching Punk and listening to his promos and seeing how he's he's like a one-line joke writer. You know what I mean? Where it's like he'll hit you with a punchline, but are you taking us on a ride? And no offense either way, right? Because it worked for years. People believe that he's a great promo. But I saw that one with The Rock where he's like, "Oh, well, your arms just aren't long enough to box with God." And I'm like, "Well, his arms are longer than yours." So, and then he did the usual suspects line in AEW. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing himself he didn't exist. Also a line from Exit Wounds, or Cradle to the Grave. I don't know, very similar. Anyway, my point is, like, he has I said it on this show, he has the ability to say words out of his mouth into a microphone fluidly to form sentences. But I'm not hooked because the lack of authenticity. He had every moment, every time he picks up the microphone to go, you know what? I was that way. I'm not that way anymore. I'm here to do this. And he just doesn't do that. He doesn't atone to the truth of the words that are there. So he's trying to deny what they're saying and invalidate their stories. But we know how Seth feels. We know the legit reasons behind Seth's actions. Drew told his story. That's why I'm so glad you watched it. I know how much you I know how much you don't like Drew's ability on TV. But when I saw this, I was like, fuck, man, I was pulled in. I'll tell you what, their first round of interactions, when Punk went up on the ropes and then Drew went up on the ropes, it was kiddie, but when they both came down, the intensity did pick back up. I was like, okay, cool. I'm actually feeling this. To your exact point, Punk has no idea how to play the game. He has no idea how to bring it back into what the other person is saying. He has his agenda and what he wants to say, regardless of how good the story's coming from the other side. Because Drew picked it up so many levels that the authenticity in which Drew is speaking, I was like, you know what? You're fucking right, dude. I absolutely agree with you. And then Punk goes, yeah, well, I'll knock your fucking teeth down your throat. And you're like, no, you won't. No, you won't. You won't. You won't. And you're too old. You lost your 3 MMA fights or whatever it was, the 2 fights. Oh, one's a no contest or whatever the fight. Like, you lost. And you sucker punch a child, and you were suspended away from TV during the other fight. Like, sorry, but no. I don't agree. I don't agree. And you can't make me agree unless you start knocking people's teeth out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I loved it. I thought Drew really brought an intensity to himself to the point. I want to see the two of them without the title, even at Mania. Like, it was that good enough for me to grab onto something. That's all I ever asked these wrestlers to do. Make me care about something. Yep. And Drew made me do that. So,
yeah,
shouts to
absolutely.
Drew.
And at first, I was like, not sure how I was feeling about it, because he's like, maybe I should leave and come back. You did.
You already did
that story. Like, you've told that story so many times. And he's all like, and then maybe I'd get a hero's welcome. You did. You also got that. What are you? You did those things, and instead of saying maybe I should, you really should be hammering home that you did it. You did it better, and you did it faster. You were gone for 3 years. Punk was gone for 9. Because the difference is you fought for it every second you were away from it, and Punk gave up until he was lured back in with the thought of money and more fame. Yeah. When he was lured back in and the ability to ride the coattails of the rest of us who never needed him. You know what I mean? Like, tell that side of it instead of saying, maybe I should leave and come back. You did. But you did it in a way that you could actually fucking dunk on Punk.
Yeah.
You could balls him. Thumb them. You know what I mean? That's what I always say, thumb them.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right there, because it was just, honestly, it was a shitty setup to get Punk's music to hit, because even Punk came out and goes, well, when I heard my name, I knew I had to come out. Well, actually, he didn't say your name.
You didn't.
Your music hit with him out. So, and that's part of the disconnect in what's happening on the mic that Punk is doing. It's like, I figured you were talking about me. Ta-da! That difference in what he says is easily more relatable. But you're telling me that you don't watch the show, that you're not listening to the person out there. So, but no, it was the best from both of them in the back and forth that I've seen in a very long time. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really hoping that they don't keep putting Punk in front of more and more people. Leave it with Drew now for a couple times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because I think just move him away from Seth completely now, because the stuff with him and Seth, it didn't add up compared to what just happened here.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think Drew did it. Also, the when Punk came out and kind of laid on the ropes, it was an asshole thing, being like, "I'll just sit right here and relax." So Drew let him do it, talked his shit, and then he was all like, "But if you want to play that game, I could do that too." And when he did it, it felt like a dressing down. You know what I mean? It was all like, "Man, he's not afraid of you. He's not nervous of you, and he shouldn't be." You know what I mean? Like, you had a fucking hard time taking out Jack Perry. You know,
right? Is there a chance that was part of the plan for both of them to sit up on the ropes and Punk was just playing his part, or we just haven't seen that authenticity to think that that's the case?
No, I think that was Punk doing what Punk does and doing shit on the fly, and then Drew being like, "What a dick! I'll do it."
That's what Drew's response looked like. Like when Drew went up there and they caught him on camera, that's what it looked like. Okay, Dick, I can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think this is fancy?
Right.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? Like, yeah. So yeah, I think that Punk's words fell flat. He was trying, like you said, to push his agenda without actually just digging in and saying, I did say those things and I was that way, but like I've said before, I've changed and a lot has changed, and it may not have been a fast change. It may have taken me a long time, but it did happen at the turn of a dime. You know what I mean? Like, it felt sudden to me. So I don't blame you guys for not thinking it. I don't blame any of you. If you want to babyface them, you know what I mean? Like, I don't blame any of you guys for not believing that I've changed. It happened quick, but it took a long time to get there. You know, and I'm willing to do what it takes. But he's not. He just keeps saying, like, I ain't here to make friends. I ain't here to make friends. Okay, are you here to prove yourself even?
Like, remember when Cody and Paul Heyman went back and forth, and Cody brings up how, you know, Paul helped save Dusty, and then Paul got emotional. I was like, I didn't know we were gonna go there, and then spit a promo of fire. Like, that's what I want to see out of CM Punk. Drew McIntyre definitely just said something Punk wasn't ready to hear.
Yeah.
You know, he was probably ready to hear something along the lines, but not specifically. Where's Punk's ability to come back and go, okay, I can do this? You know, that would have made everything just even hotter, you know?
Yeah.
But imagine that Drew McIntyre carried a promo segment in today's wrestling. I mean, it
was amazing. It was amazing. It was the best he's ever looked, and I thought it was great. I don't even know why, but I thought he looked good with the ponytail. I feel like it looked different than normal. It looked all weird and greased.
Yeah, his whole presentation, everything just felt better. So shouts to Drew. Shouts to Drew for putting one on.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And, you know, go ahead, thumb Punk. Thumb him. Do you want to keep going to Raw, or do you want to circle back to SmackDown?
Your show, brother. All go with me. I'm ready.
All right, well, hold on then. Let me do this. 43, 36. Drew. Making my notes. Since someone's watching live anyways, fuck, I'll do it. Are you someone whistling at you?
I heard some whistling. I didn't know if it was him. I'm in the basement, so I don't know if like a basement window was open or something.
Well, you're looking good. You're gonna get catcalled, dude.
It's the shirt, man.
Let's pour another glass real quick for Fans First Sports Network and say cheers to them for keeping the lights on over here in the dive bar of the IWC.
Cheers.
Another drink. With your drinking buddies. Guys, dude, let's talk SmackDown. Let's talk what happened on SmackDown, because this SmackDown felt like a lot. I mean, it opened up with Kevin Owens and Santos, right?
Yeah.
I'm not wrong on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they got right into it.
Yeah, they got right into it. Did I miss something? Santos came out with Angel and Humberto. They haven't done any promo anywhere together, right? He just suddenly had them.
Correct. They came in for help with the hoodies up, and that was it.
Yes. And then LWO came in and attacked Angel and Humberto. I thought the use of them here was actually pretty cool, but I did wish that there was something. Even if, like, sometimes they're walking out and they show a little video package from earlier in the day, like just a little promo in the corner. If he had had that and said, you think you guys are my only hermanos? And just like, I called in some help because I don't trust you guys. You guys never looked out for me like they're going to. You know what I mean? Like, it would make sense. So this time he came out and it was just all like, oh, he's got 2 other Latinos. Like, it felt a little bit forced in that sense, where I wish he had talked about it. On the flip side, as much as we've been critical, and I do think it's always easy and lazy to say, oh, like for like, hey, can we get some more luchadors? Could we get some more Mexicans over there? The same as when Kari Sane came back, everyone said, oh, can we finally put her back with Asuka? Now you can have Asuka, Io, and Kari together. It's like, okay, but do we have to always pair like for like? That feels a little forced and a little biased at times. Even like we're saying, Jade Cargill coming in and everyone says, can't wait for her against Bianca. There's a lot of other women on the roster we could also say. Not that it will be a bad match, but that we're going like for like in a way that feels a little forced and a little biased in a way, right? So I just thought they could have had a little story other than that. However, Angel and Humberto are fucking solid. They're good to go. They've been killing it in NXT. I just wish we added a little flavor to it other than just, and now we have 2 more Mexicans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they may have done the social media post and it didn't get to me, but I don't remember them explaining it. I agree with you. I think Angel and Humberto, they've always been great. They lacked what Santos has, right? That certain charisma that Santos has to be ethnic on TV. It's kind of the best way I can say it. I mean it with the best intentions, but there's a palatability, there's a translatability that we talk about with all non-American English-speaking people, right? Like from Becky Lynch to Piper Niven to whoever, and Latinos as well. So I like it. As I agree with you, I do like it, but it is forced. And the one thing I definitely didn't like was LWO coming out. I know they have unfinished business with Santos, but they just had an awesome match on NXT that it's like, oh, okay, so this is just the dip your toes. I'd rather them just stay on NXT, go in the Dusty Cup, which is just happening now. Like, continue the NXT, because they were hot as soon as LWO hit in NXT. That shit was hot. And that's the type of energy that good NXT has. And it's just not the same LWO without Santos on the main roster. So tell your story, do your thing. There's probably heat there with Carlito as well to do a 3-on-3 Legado versus LWO. But do we need it? Would you rather see the growth of this new Legado without LWO, especially until Ray gets back? Just let it do its thing and just keep these LWO guys away. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, I felt like it was forced and weird too, because even then when LWO came out and attacked them, it was kind of like they're just there, like they haven't done anything. They haven't even said
they didn't do anything.
Word.
Yeah. And they're not the ones that beat them down.
Yeah. It had nothing to do with any of this. You just attacked them. So it was a little weird and a little hot shotty in a way that just didn't make sense to me. And I look forward to where it gets, more so than where we started, because this was a rough start on it.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens won against Santos. What I said at episode 1 when they first started it, this feels like a whole mechanism just to get Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul at the Rumble or Mania or something.
Yep.
But I told you at the time, and I still feel that way in this moment, I really wish they'd used this to catapult Carmelo. I really wish that Milo won this whole tournament, and now you got a Logan Paul thing. Except the whole problem is that the entire time this tournament's been going on, Logan Paul's been cutting promos on Kevin Owens and only Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So it's kind of telegraphed in a way where I looked away from this match a lot. These are 2 incredible guys. I like both of them a lot. 2 of my favorites. But I knew what was happening here.
That's fair.
Logan Paul came out to talk shit on Kevin Owens again. And also like, all right, so we just have to get to where Kevin Owens wins this match. And that's what it felt like. I was watching a match waiting for the end because it just was telegraphed so far out. To me personally, as good as those two guys are, and I'm sure it was a great match, and I did watch good chunks of it, and they're impressive. Kevin Owens punched out Logan Paul, and Logan Paul sold the hell out of it. And I like that.
Yeah, and I liked all Logan Paul's expressions on commentary. You know, he was trying to talk shit, and then Kevin Owens would do a dope move, and he go, uh-oh, I'm in for some serious business. So, again, Logan Paul is just proven that he's built for this, man. He does a great job everywhere he touches in WWE. Some of his promos are a little tight. You know, they can use some polishing for WWE verbiage, you know, how things are laid out a little bit better. You know, like you talk about Nia Jax, right? This is how you promo. He has a better cadence than that, but his emphasis and how he gets to where he's going, you know, is a little choppy. But other than that, he's fucking perfect. You know, he, like you said, he sold the hell out of that punch from Kevin Owens. They emphasized that was at the cast, so like the reason for the one punch knockout, like it's all making sense. But I definitely agree with you. You know, making a rising star out of Mello and getting rid of that trick storyline that we talked about on episode 1 would be great. It just doesn't seem like that's the time right now.
It kind of made the tournament feel pointless to me.
Yeah.
We didn't accomplish anything in it. What happened in this whole tournament? Who got over besides Kevin Owens getting his match at Rumble against Logan Paul? You even added members to Santos's crew, and you didn't even get them over. You didn't even get them a story. Like, that's what I mean. This whole tournament was pointless.
Yeah, because
no one got over.
Yeah, and this again, I think this is Triple H thinking too hard, because 1 week, Angel and Humberto take out the Street Profits so Santos can win. Then the LWO comes back, takes out Angel and Humberto to help Santos lose. And then Bobby and the Street Profits come out, and then the guy Bobby beat comes out with 2 members to beat up Bobby and the Street Profits. Like, I get it. If we want to do you want to be AEW fans real quick, dude, Triple H is interweaving all these fucking crazy stories. This shit is awesome. Everyone's getting time on TV. This is incredible. Well, it's not. It's falling flat because nothing's happening except you hit me, so I hit you. You beat me, so I beat you. It's just tit for tat and convoluted as opposed to actually telling a story.
Yeah, it's a little less competitive and a little more Marvel in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where Marvel fights is always, well, I don't like you because you're the bad guy, right? You're in this group, I'm in that group, so we hate each other all the time, right? Where in wrestling, a lot of times, you know, well, I just wasn't a better man tonight, right? Or I'm gonna get my win over you eventually, right? Like there's a competitive nature to I'm good at this, and you're also good at this. Where a lot of this just feels like you said, punch for punch. But
it's honestly, it's less, it's tit for tat. Like, it's not even punch for punch, really. Like, it's just so, it's so childish. I didn't mean to like diminish what you were saying. It's just, I just don't even think it's that fucking effective as punch for punch. You know, like, it seems so fucking childish. It just doesn't, it makes zero sense. Zero sense. Yeah.
I got whiskey stones now.
Nice.
I've always kind of wanted some. But these
Better
ones
than
are
kidney stones.
I mean, I might have those too. Everything hurts, you know.
What kind are they? Are they squares or marbles? Oh, okay.
The big spheres, like, and they're like, yeah, I think they are marble. Now you mention it.
Yeah.
They're pretty neat, man. I don't hate them. Do not hate them.
I've had dice rocks, so like the size of a dice. I've had those, and I've had I've had Miz style tiny balls.
Yeah,
that were like, I would say like double size marble.
Yeah.
You know, not marble size, but maybe twice the size of a marble. I've had those, and they just never keep the cool long enough for me. So something bigger might do it.
Yeah, that was one of the deals that we talked about with them. I mean, you can even see the marble.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I'm trying not to spill it, but I mean, it's also a ball, so it's not going to stay in one place, right?
Right.
But that was one of the things too. I don't think that for me, the interesting bit is, I don't think it keeps it cold long enough. But also at the same time, like when I'm having it, I'll throw a little splash of water just because I'm not icing it down, right? It makes you want to take longer to sip it. when it's got the rocks, right? Where other times with like ice and stuff, you just want to drink it faster. And so like I feel like it's this weird cause and effect where it's like, well, I have the rock, so now I'm going to drink it slower. But the rock doesn't seem to keep cold as long, so I kind of need to drink it a little faster. Which is why having something like this particular Irish whiskey, this Busker, is nice because even as it gets warm, it doesn't get harsher. Like it's still very smooth. So, whatever. Hey, talking about what you were talking about there, at the end of this whole schmoz, you do end up with the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley coming out. Wait, that was a little bit different. They came out and cut a promo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby Lashley and Street Profits. So I want to ask you. So obviously, by the end of this, they're baby faces. During the promo, they're trying to solidify that they're baby faces. Montez Ford is still acting like a total clown.
Yeah, Dawkins too.
Do you think they function better as baby faces if that's how they're behaving? I don't think it works either way if that's how they're behaving.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. We've talked about them ad nauseum, right? Like what they have in athleticism and charisma, they lack in discipline and attention to detail. You know, that you're wearing a suit. Stop stirring the pot. You know, like quit being over athletic while you're wearing a suit. Tone down the mannerisms. You don't, you know, it's just I wish they steered into the seriousness and they just never did.
They don't, but as baby faces, do you think it still works?
No, because it's if you're gonna baby face and because it's the movement in the suit that doesn't make sense. Because if you're going to stand next to Bobby and be this, whatever it is, right? Bodyguards, lieutenants to mob bosses, any type of security, FBI agents, right? The guys standing behind the one up front, what do they do every single time in all actions? Stormtroopers behind Darth Vader, right? What do? They fucking stand still until they're ready to go. And these guys come out in suits, jumping around, doing all the shit that still, babyface or not, does not translate to the demeanor that your suit is representing. If they want to be the boys from Dalton Castle, right? Or they want to be, even Reggie does it now without the mud. He doesn't come out flipping around and doing his Cirque du Soleil shit. He's being intimidating behind these two big guys. And when he walks through them, he doesn't do it like a fucking clown. So because they keep these mannerisms, they're not presenting a demeanor that fits the suits.
That's true. I think you're right. Even as baby faces, they don't have to be clowns. I was just hoping that, like, because I'd see a ton of people, and I've heard a ton of people talk about how people just want to cheer for them. They love them. I just don't feel that way. I just find them so obnoxious that I get that that's a personal bias. But I was hoping it worked in a way. It just annoys me, everything he does. Like you said, because Bobby's presence is what it is. I've seen people try to blame Bobby. That's funny. Sorry, I'm getting a ton of messages about a thing. I'm trying to fix it as fast as I can. But I've seen people trying to blame Bobby as a charisma sucker and that he is so non-charismatic that the Street Profits aren't getting a response. But I'm seeing the opposite. Bobby gets a big response. The Street Profits do not. Because what they do doesn't do a thing that adults like. Yes. Or even kids, right? You respond in a way that is so obnoxious and childish that you're only going to get certain people. You're not going to get a lot. You know what I mean? Like, even when they come out and start doing the thing like they did for a long time, they weren't getting the response that Jey Uso gets when he does it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I do think there's a massive disconnect with both of their performances. And I think they need to get that shit together because Bobby's doing fucking everything he can.
Yeah, I think one of their biggest rights. One of the biggest things they did right was when they did pull the crowd in. But a lot of things that they did alienated the crowd. They did a lot of stuff for them. Montez, every time he would flip over the ropes when he came into the ring, or he would put someone in a headlock and flip his tongue, and most of Dawkins, actually all of Dawkins' celebrations or in a video game taunts, right? Every time he wants to do a thing, it has nothing to do with bringing the crowd in with them. So we always end up just watching them perform instead of being drawn into what they do. And when you see the same thing over and over and over again, it just stops working. Like they used to come through the crowd, and the crowd would be hyped to see them come around their side and do all. And then when they came down the entrance ramp, they would still bounce, but not try to bring the crowd in with them. So they do their thing in front of us. They don't pull us in, and I think that's the biggest disconnect with them. And they haven't changed that either. If you're not going to pull us in, then don't do the things that make it look like you want our attention. There's a lot of look what I can do,
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. A lot of look what I can do. Even that whole, I've even seen people who like the Street Profits start to talk shit about the about that lip curl thing that he does. So I know I'm not alone in that. Sorry, dude. People hit me up. There's nothing I can do about it. I appreciate.
What do you think?
The weight there.
Shouts to Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops. I believe it was Chris that said Karrion Kross debuted with the mid-card Mafia.
Put who?
Karrion Kross and AOP are now aptly named the mid-card Mafia.
Okay, so yeah, Karrion Kross comes out. He's got a new brunette Scarlet Bordeaux, although she just goes by Scarlet, I believe now. What did you think about Paul Ellering? Because that's the first thing you saw was Ellering.
I think, so again, that's a longer response than seeing that, but I think if Paul Ellering does what he does, this can work.
Here was my only thought about it is I saw it and I went, oh, that's fucking cool. And then AOP comes out and I was like, fuck yes. Producer lady was all like, what the fuck was that about? Because on the main roster, AOP never had Ellering. He was only with them in
their debut. I think he was there just for their debut and then wasn't for anything else. But yes,
no. And then they were on their own. Yeah. And then they were with Drake Maverick. And then they were with Seth.
Which was dope. The Drake Maverick stuff was dope.
I hate you.
It was dope, dude. They need a third piece that can talk for them and give them some type of, that's why the stuff that was going to happen with Seth was going to be awesome, because Seth had his bodyguards and his disciples and all that stuff, and then no one could stay healthy. Which, look, again, Clump says it, I'll say it. I am not one to body shame, but these guys don't look like they came back ready to be healthy all the time.
Yeah, they came back big. But I think there's could be, because I've talked about it before, and I know you've talked about it episode 1. You don't get Karrion Kross. He's not connecting with you. It just seems like he says stuff but doesn't back it up. And I keep telling you, I think it's the booking and not even his performance or his verbiage. He can say what he's going to say, and then they just don't allow his booking to follow through. I do think him being a killer mastermind with the assistance of an Ellering to help spin the wheels could be the thing that makes this all work. It could be that as a lone assassin, it was just a crazy guy in the back by himself, right? But now you have a group. You have these two monsters. I'm a singles monster. You've got my muse, and you have a tag team specialist mastermind. I think you could do a lot with that. Like, it feels a little overcrowded in a sense, right? Because you have effectively 3 talkers. Although Scarlett doesn't talk much. She's kind of meant to be that, right? Manager type. I say let Ellering do a lot of the business stuff. Let Kross say crazy shit and have Ellering get between him and the Paul Heymans and the Nick Aldises and say, let's you and I discuss this. You know what I mean? Like, I think this could be the thing that makes him make sense.
I 100% agree. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I do think Karrion Kross doing his roars and his snarls and all that, it doesn't play well on TV. So that's one thing that definitely took me out of it. But yeah, I completely agree with you, because I don't think his promos add up to what he's really trying to tell. And even I should tick Yeah, well, it leads to nothing. So shut up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we all watch the clock all day. So I get both parts of it, right? Like I don't like what I don't like, but Shinsuke promoting the way he does and losing, I still feel the intensity leading to the match and the match leading to a point where he might win. Oh shit, he lost. You know what I mean? And that doesn't happen with Cross. Cross, I just don't buy in. I watch the match, he loses. I'm like, good, okay, let's go. You know, so like that's. But yes, if this can bring it back, absolutely. I loved AOP in NXT. I love Ellering's. I mean, he's so small, but he's so demonstrative, right? He can
Yeah.
absolutely bring the heat that needs to come with that. So, yeah, I think it's a great pairing, and I do think it has potential. So I won't completely shit on it. But even when Karrion Kross tried to do that new finisher, it looks like he almost killed Bobby.
We were terrified that he might have killed Bobby. And I couldn't tell if it was because Bobby's just so heavy, because he's just a big motherfucker. But also Cross is so strong that I also wondered if they both miscalculated and assuming the other one was going to carry whatever. But then there was one angle they showed that made it look like they actually were totally fine. His hand is behind Bobby's neck the whole time. So when he flips him, Bobby's head lands on his arm. So it looked crazy. It looked like he spiked him, but really he was tucked up underneath him the entire time. So it looked
like
insane.
some weird TKO F5 DDT thing. It just
Yeah,
it was gnarly. So if someone doesn't do their part the right way, it's not going to end well. So, you know,
or it might be the kind of thing that it just looks like wrestling's supposed to look like, where you go, oh my God, like a pile driver. We see them all the time now. But I still, every time I see one, I tense up because I've seen what happens when it's not going right, right?
right.
We've seen Stone Cold hit his head, and you watch it and you go, that looks like he just crushed his neck. Watching this, there's a really good chance that those dudes know exactly what they're doing, and that one of the safest moves in the business, and looks like it's going to kill you every time, and that's the point. So I'm hoping that's what we got, but I agree with you. We watched it a couple of times because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which on the reverse side, I can't tell if it was AOP just being a little soft, or if it was Street Profits not selling very well. But their finisher, which I remember looking pretty cool in the past, looked a little weak this time.
Yeah, they look like they lacked a bit of strength. But if you go back and watch some NXT stuff, it is kind of a bullshit move.
Is it?
Yeah, it doesn't lend well. When they did it in the ladder match, that was dope. But yeah, it doesn't lend well. It just goes too slow. I think
It's too slow.
I think it always has, and this time was definitely really slow. But part of it is how much. That's one thing I know. So how much the opponents arch their back. So when
Yes.
they do touch, how much of the back actually touches is what's part of the the impact that you're trying to see. So yeah.
And that's what I wonder, if it relies a lot on the opponent to do stuff and sell right, because it did look like, instead of look like slamming two guys together, it looked like cheers.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
tap, you know what I mean? But you want it to look like you're running two guys into each other. You'd almost want them to do a bump first, and then come back forward for the power bump. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a 2-part bump, and everyone just is waiting for the one bump at the end. So I don't know. Maybe they get it together. Maybe they don't. I'm excited about the potential here. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Did you have something else you were gonna say about it?
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, it could be cool, dude. It could be cool, but it also could fall to shit. So I'm excited to watch, just because I like Cross a lot.
And we got to be careful too, because there's so many things on TV, and they're on the short show, so they have to hit every time they're on TV to build that investment. You know what I mean? Like Damage Control, we talked about forever. You know, going up, down, flounder, and then not until the promo a couple weeks ago, you know, did we go, oh, okay, this is something different now. You know, it kind of leads a bit different. So if they can keep going with the promo and keep showing some type of domination, even if it's 15 seconds to 3 minutes on TV every week, then it will work. But it's the short show, and there's a lot of shit going on.
We had Io Sky against Michin for the world title, women's title. This was a bad match, man. And there were some really cool spots. Mia taking that face plant on the outside looked sick, but there was so much miscalculation, miscommunication, just fucking misses that this was one of the ones where, as we're watching it, I mean, even you can hear the commentary trying to figure out what they're trying to accomplish. I think they're going for this, maybe that. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't know what went wrong, but it felt like everything. And God, dude, I hate to say it because we have a new crew, right? We have a new group of people. But the last time I felt this way about a match, there's two matches that come to mind that this is right in line with. And that was Peyton Royce's match and Emma's match, where they had their title shots. And I went, that's that. If you can't look good in that slot and that opportunity against that opponent, we're not going to see you again. And I was right both times. I don't think I'm right this time. I think that Triple H really likes Michin. I think Triple H does think differently than Vince does. But there's a lot uphill after this.
I'm sorry. I think I just saw a news headline that I was not prepared for.
Really?
Yeah. Outside of wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did someone get passed away?
No, an actor died. Yeah. Aiden Canto. He I know him from Designated Survivor. He's 42.
Aiden Canto. Oh wow. Yeah, yesterday a really young guy passed away too. Yeah, Designated Survivor was a great show. Really underrated.
Yeah, I loved it. I just rewatched it about a month or so ago. I don't remember who he was in Days of Futures Past though.
Days of
love
Future
that
Past. He
movie.
was also in The Following. That was a great show.
That's crazy. Yeah, he was awesome. So sorry for derailing there. But we can pick that. Hey, Tears on Our Beers, and Encanto.
Yeah.
Thank you for Designated Survivor. I agree with you. They did a promo afterwards of Michin, kind of picking up her intensity and saying how much the opportunity lost meant to her. So I didn't like her gear. That bugged me out. Wearing chaps sideways is what it looked like. It was very distracting and it looked like she lacked some mobility in it. We talked about it years ago, maybe on episode 1. It was the thing about Toni Storm, how she wasn't being palatable on TV, and it's just because she's never on, never gets a chance to wrestle. Does it, so that time on TV really needs to pick up to be able to, not just for us and our viewing pleasure, but these guys and what they're doing. The timing on TV and under the bright lights in front of the crowds, like these guys need more reps. And we've seen Mia Yim and Io have great matches before, so it's not like they can't do it. It's not like Mia Yim can't do it. And it's not like Io can't do it separately. So hopefully it's just happenstance. Hopefully it's just a victim of, it's been a while. They tried, they gave their best, but to your point, things were just not clicking.
I'm hopeful because even when Michin came out, I remember thinking like, God, what an amazing thing adding her to the club. I thought it was so good, so perfect. As we get later on, AJ is away from them again, and you go, okay, well, that's a little bit of a bummer. But like her is with the Good Brothers, I think is so good. And then this match happened, and I was just all like, God. The backstage promo though, I really liked with Bayley and Bianca. Bayley super emotive. I'm into it. Do you think Bayley's a favorite to win the Rumble? I've seen a lot of people speculate that, and I can't help but want that, but I just don't know if I feel it.
Yeah, I don't feel it either. Again, from the not being able to book predictability standpoint of it, like it'd be great if it happened, but the last two were so predictable, right? Rhea and Bianca were so predictable. So I don't want it to be someone predictable. We're not actually talking about anyone right now. Maybe Becky because she hasn't had anything important. So Bayley would be a good one. Do I believe it? Sure. But I just think Damage Control has so much other stuff to do.
If Bayley wins, do you think? I mean, she has to challenge for Rhea, right? Like she couldn't challenge for Io, except for if Well, no, because if you win the Rumble, then you get first dibs. I'm saying
You
unless
get your
somebody
pick,
already
yeah.
challenged Rhea, but that would have to happen after the fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people want Bayley versus Io at Mania for the title, and I could see that 3 months ago, but I can't see it now with where we're at.
Right.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm into it. Tyler Bate and Butch defeated Pretty Deadly. That was cool. I don't think I have much else to say about it. I wish Tyler Bate would stop wearing underwear.
Well, he's
He
a
has
big, strong boy.
he is a big strong
But
boy, but he still has like underoo lines on his.
yeah.
It's got the
Yeah,
little
they
pee
did.
hole on it. It's got the Y front, dude. Can't be
Yeah,
doing that.
it's a bummer because they lean too much into the lean too much into the boy aspect. The only thing I'll say is that I was expecting Sheamus as the
Yes.
mystery partner, but to get Tyler Bate was awesome because they told a little bit of that on NXT, so there's cohesiveness there. Because even my son, he really likes Tyler Bate on NXT, and he likes Pete Dunne too. So when they teamed up in NXT for that one match, he's like, "Oh, this is so cool," because it was with Ridge too. So we were calling them the Big Strong Brutes.
Mhm.
So when this happened and Tyler Bate came out, like it was a big pop at our house. So it's cool. Again, I'd like to see them stick with it, keep going, continue these stories.
Yep. I thought we were going to get Sheamus back, but we didn't. Obviously, Ridge is in NXT. Do you think this is the first or second step in getting Pete Dunne back and Butch gone? Do we think that we're going to go back to a bruiserweight here shortly and Sheamus comes back and says, "Hey, Butch, go do your thing," and then he goes, "I mean, Pete, give him the old fella and send him on his way," and Sheamus goes back to singles and Pete Dunne as a bruiserweight starts to do a thing?
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I
I
feel
mean, I
like
do
Tyler
like,
Bate showing up is what that meant to me.
yeah, because they've done that before, right? Where they give you the inch to lead that way, and then rip the Band-Aid off the following. So I could see that, and I would like that to happen. It's cool when those little moments happen,
Mm-hmm.
but they might just do it and not say shit.
That's true too. They might just do it and not say shit. But I feel like even with LA Knight, they did it, right? Like they did a thing. Remember, he had that whole backstage thing. He goes, "Nah, nah."
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. Fucking Max Dupree, dude.
Quickly,
Fucking
Brett.
Max Dupree. Quick shout out too while you do that. What's his name? Chris Van Vley, who I did get to meet one time, and was really cool. He did an interview recently with LA Knight, and in there he even tells the story about Vince McMahon having this vision for the Maximum Male models that he didn't share with them, that he didn't get, he didn't understand. And he said that he felt like it was just, he knew it was going poorly. He felt like Vince had to know it was going poorly. And there was once or twice he walked backstage and said, "Well, that's going to be it for me, I guess." So just overall, a good interview. It's nice to see LA Knight getting in the rounds and for people to be appreciating. He just got the key to the city in his hometown, like just fucking cool. And as we get into LA Knight, obviously that goes into before we get to the main event, they had this backstage segment with Ashante the Adonis coming into the office and seeing Nick Aldis, and I just kept waiting for Nick Aldis to be like, who, right? And then I don't know. It was funny because I'm watching it and Ashante's trying to say all this stuff, and I was like, dude, I don't think that, like, no one gets who you are right now, and no one knows what you're up to. And what happened to BFAB? Wasn't she just being courted by somebody? Wasn't there a group that was starting to like talk to her?
Yeah.
What group was it?
It was Bobby, right? It was Bobby and the Street Profits.
Yes, Bobby and
Yeah.
the Street Profits. Where's BFAB?
Yeah.
Ashanti's like, I want to prove it. I'm hungry. And Nick was all like, I'm not going to give you anything because I believe in you. Like, what the fuck ever. But I hope they do something with Ashante. He was really good. He was probably
Oh,
the best
yeah.
wrestler on that whole team. Maybe maybe more so than Swerve. Swerve is great. Don't get me wrong. I think Swerve is awesome, but I remember thinking Ashante was kind of wowing me in a way that I thought Swerve was bringing a lot of swag, or I thought Ashante
Yeah.
brought a lot of in ring. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. It's a great point because Swerve was the Swerve's best Ashanti style work was when he was with um, Tyler Breeze and Fandango as the third there. Like, oh, we just got to watch him wrestle, right? Just go, 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 like Ashanti was doing. And when you're right, the swag that Swerve had to get you to buy in to Hit Row, all we had to do, all we were allowed to do for Ashanti the Adonis was watch him wrestle.
Yes.
So he wasn't, I don't want to say he wasn't allowed, but that was his part, was the wrestler. You know, him and Top Dollar would wrestle as a tag, or he would wrestle by himself, right? So yeah, I agree with you. I think wrestling wise, he was the standout performer in that group in ring. You know, full on character and all that stuff, Swerve for sure. But it definitely, I was always impressed by him. This particular character work, you can tell, you know, it's been a while since he's had the ability to do it. So
Yes.
I won't hold that against him, but it wasn't great. And hey, a veteran of the business and Nick Aldis, it's still not translating for me. It doesn't, he needs more oomph to him.
Let's hope he gets some move, dude. I'm into it. Let's get to the main event, though. We were talking LA Knight a little bit. Roman Reigns came in and interfered in the LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton match. This match was fucking good. And I know that I heard a few people talk a little bit of shit where it felt like Randy Orton and AJ Styles and LA Knight was just there. I just disagree. I thought all three of these dudes were performing on a level that made me think that everyone belonged exactly where they were. AJ going through his heel phase, fucking wrestling in jeans. So funny.
So stupid.
His fucking vest with the hood is longer and dark without his logo. You're like, okay. It's funny because, right, like you think about it.
Sleeves now too.
Yeah.
It's got suit jacket, shoulder pads, and shit. It's so dumb.
It's so stupid because, like, when you think about him as a kayfabe character, he's always had the same style gear that he changes up, right?
Yeah.
So what? His character's just all like, nah, just the gloves this time. Like, and here's the side note to it is like you've been wrestling in certain gear a certain way for your entire career. You don't think you would be more comfortable in what you normally wear? Now you're all like, no, jeans and a leather belt ought to do it. So from a kayfabe standpoint, I'm like, what are you doing?
And he's still jumping off the ropes and shit. Like if he turned it into just ground and pound, you know, just beat people up in the ring. But even when he does his melee thing where he's, you know, spins and does this, as soon as he did the Pele kick and jeans, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, it's
so crazy.
Oh, but then I watched him walk around and I go, are you fucking, is it Triple H? Is it because we can't blame Vince anymore, right? Like, this is what heels do. They wear black jeans and black boots. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense, man.
It doesn't make sense from a guy who's like one of the best wrestlers of all time to suddenly be all like, I don't want to feel comfortable out there. What?
I've been shitting on his gear. As soon as I saw like exactly what he was doing, I'm like, wait, so you put a vest either under or on top of some type of suit jacket so you can have the shoulder pads and roll your sleeves up because it's time to go to work? Like, like you mean business?
Yeah, this
but
is
you're
how you
still
always
AJ?
dress?
Like,
yeah. And it was funny, he threw the hood back, but then didn't put his hands up like, I'm a heel now. And you're just like, fuck off, dude. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I loved every second of it. But I couldn't help but laugh a little bit at the kayfabe concept of what the mentality has to be in character.
It's so ridiculous.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. But everyone was
Wait,
awesome.
You do realize you're AJ Styles, right? You do? Okay. It's the biggest show.
You're still fucking AJ and you've still been wrestling in the same gear. Like, why not just do an all black gear? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's done that before.
Yeah. Well, no, he's done black gear with like white and like black with like blue and stuff. I mean, like do black on black. Yeah, like where the elbow pad had the white logo on the black, do a black logo on black. So it has the shine to it,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
all black. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah.
But no, he went with what he went with, and it was funny to me. But LA Knight got busted open. AJ went for a little flipski kind of a deal, and it looks like his hand looks like it scraped his eyebrow right in that spot. If you've ever read McFoley's books, I believe it was his first one, Foley is Good. No, it was the second one. Have a Nice Day was his first one. I believe in the first one, Have a Nice Day, was where he mentioned that there's a spot on the brow that it's just so thin that if you clip it with a knuckle, just a real, just sharp kind of down, that it bursts open and bleeds everywhere. And he said that him and some of his buddies would do that to each other at barbecues, where they would just walk up and just kind of right on your eyebrow, and you're just like, oh God, come on. And it's just bleeding everywhere. That's where he got hit, and it bled like crazy, and it was pretty fucking cool to see. But Charles Robinson, fucking great utilization in here.
Crushed it. Yeah.
So great. AJ goes and holds his arm up so he can't do the 3 count. What are you doing? What are you doing? Can't disqualify him, right? Because, for one, there's no DQ. But second, he didn't put his hand, he didn't hit you. He stopped you. Right. And is it that different from stopping you versus knocking into a dude to stop the count that way? Like, he's just stopping the count. And then he gets pulled out, gets thrown to the side. He comes back a little bit later trying to go like, come on, guys. He's clearly on the side, like not sure what to do because it's no DQ, but Roman's just kicking the shit out of everybody. Really well done. And at the end of it, Nick Aldis says, when he's done celebrating, tell him congratulations. And Paul Heyman, he's trying to shrug him. He goes, for what? He goes, because he just earned himself a fatal 4-way match against all of these guys at Royal Rumble. And Paul Heyman, in the cartoonish way that he does, gasps and looks slowly towards the ring and then slowly back at the camera and puts his hand up like, what will Roman do? I loved it. I loved the drama of it. But it did make me laugh a little bit. Nick Aldis again trying to get himself in the main event somehow or another. I could tell the look on his fucking face, the whole match. They would go over to him, and that look on his stupid little fucking British face, just fucking stupid little, like, should be me in there. Should be me in there. Sees LA Knight in there kicking everybody's ass and goes, should have been me. He's all Dolph Ziggler over there, and it should have been me. It should have been me. That's why I see whenever I see Nick Aldis look at the great LA Knight. Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say about the thing?
No, I was just listening, brother. I tell you what, on the Nick Aldis point, again, this guy's not used to being on TV. Just like when he got RKO'd by Randy, you saw him kind of force his way into it. It wasn't his time to walk over to Paul Heyman yet. And he's like walking into Paul Heyman's back to make sure he says this thing on TV because this is my line. This is my time to shine. Give it a beat, man. Let it run. They're not focused on you yet. They're not going to miss your moment. They know more about this than you do. You are the new piece here. You're not going to miss your moment, man. Just relax. And if you go 4 seconds too long, they're still going to catch it. But he wants to make sure he hits that mark. He's always in frame way too quick because we're seeing things from him we're not supposed to see. We're not supposed to see him be this close to Paul Heyman's back before he turns around to say, hey, Paul, and then Paul turns around. Like that's not what we're supposed to see. But we see it because he doesn't know where the fuck to be.
He doesn't have the internal clock of it. He wants to be the guy who you can count on to get his shit done in time.
Yeah.
But one of the things Bruce Richards talked about in his podcast before was that Shawn Michaels was the guy you gave something to when you need him to do something with 2 seconds left. Because the internal clocks for some of these guys was just insane. So it's one thing to say like, hey, you got to get this done in the next 2 minutes. And then they do it. And you're like, well, now we got 1 minute and 45 left. So run it down. It's another thing to say, hey, you got 2 minutes and this needs to be done right before we go off the air. And then at 1:58 it happens. And then it's, oh my God. And then they cut it,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And Nick's not that guy. He's not that guy to get it done right before. He's that guy to get it done and then give you a ton of time to kill afterwards. And he goes, well, I got my shit done in time.
Yep.
But now you made everyone else have to figure out a way to fill in time.
Yeah, for sure. And I just don't believe his energy. He's too even keeled, too one note. And I mean, look again. We'll see how it plays out. He's on my TV, so I can't change that. I'm not
Yeah.
going to stop watching the show because he's on it. So I just would like to see him be more, um, more better.
You know, it's funny. I think Adam Pearce has gotten worse over time. I think Nick Aldis has the potential to get better over time.
And I like this Adam Pearce compared to the old one.
Really? This Adam
Yeah.
Pearce, well, I mean, I guess I don't even remember him this last week.
I
He's been a
don't
bit
either.
cartoonish. The last couple months, he's been cartoonish.
Yeah.
Something like that. His
Yeah.
whole War Games thing, I fucking hated.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fucking.
Oh yeah, I guess I'll do that. Oh, yep.
Oh yeah, he was backstage with our truth. We'll talk about that.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get a chance to comment on the match. Sorry, hijacked the show.
Yeah. I was gonna say go back to the show or go back to the match.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great, and I was trying to look for that spot that LA Knight got cut open. I did think their storytelling was really cool. You know, stopping the pinfalls from happening, and you know, it would have been nice to get the clean win because I believe it was you that predicted on an episode 1 that, you know, this is leading towards a fatal 4-way, and to get the triple stack and smash would be a little too much. But it also could be a way to get this title off of Roman, but it just doesn't feel like that's where we're going. I just don't. Number one, didn't like Hoodie Roman. I thought it made him look too boxy instead of, you know, muscular, you know. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I lost my excitement because now you have a funky match with 4 people that anything can happen in a I don't know. It feels like a gratuitous out, if you will.
Yeah, and it also feels like this is I know that shout out to Sam Roberts on his podcast. He's talked about how he thinks that Roman's going to carry the title through WrestleMania again because there's just too many contenders. And he doesn't think Triple H books on accident, right? So if you have a bunch of people who have a gripe with Roman, then that means that there's a lot of people who they have stories that they are looking forward to completing, right? And I get that mentality. But this Fatal 4-Way does feel like a way to get 3 out of the way. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like, hey, how do we keep 3 more going? This felt a lot like, hey, instead of having 1 keep going and 2 on the shelf, let's just crush all 3 real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't think is a really bad thing.
No, for sure. And I was thinking about that too. Like, it's also a way to add fuel to AJ versus LA Knight for WrestleMania.
Yes.
You know, so there is a way. There's definitely a way to do that. Another reason why I don't fantasy book after coming up with great ideas like Randy versus Roman is the chance that it doesn't happen, because then I'll be disappointed, because I am looking forward to that, and I am looking forward to Randy beating Roman because it just makes sense. But if you do this in a way where, let's say, Roman pins LA Knight after a phenomenal forearm to LA Knight and an RKO to AJ Styles, you know, like whatever it has to do, and then LA Knight takes the loss, but AJ was the last one to actually hit him. Yes, you're building that, but at the sake of not having this championship match. But now Randy goes and does what? You know, and then Roman, he goes down his rock path or what have you. So I can see where Sam is correct in this instance where, okay, these contenders, they no longer have a shot heading into Mania. But then what do you do with these guys? These guys also need something to do.
Yeah, that's true. I could see a world where LA Knight hits Roman with the BFT. AJ gets in between, like pulls LA Knight right off the pin. And I mean, he doesn't have like a strike move from a stand-up position, right? So I could see him just like pulling LA Knight out of the ring, right? You're in a pin. He pulls LA Knight right out, slides in, and as he slides in to go for the pin, Randy Orton, boom, RKO's AJ, pins AJ. And then that's how the Randy Orton gets the title. LA Knight gets screwed by AJ, who was about to beat Roman. And now Randy beat AJ, and now Knight is like, AJ, you fucked me, and you didn't even get it. You know what I mean? Like I could see that leading into an LA Knight versus AJ Styles, Randy versus Cody, and Roman going on to The Rock. Because I still feel like all it takes is one fucking promo for The Rock to say, you've been so tied up about being the Universal Champion and being the head of the table that you haven't realized that being the head of the table is about being the People's Champion. That Universal title doesn't mean what you think it means.
Right.
Let them figure that out and fight for who's best in this company. Because right now you're not even best in this family. And then you make it a personal beef that has to do with family, has to do with head of the table, has to do with People's Champion. And then you can move along,
Yeah, that's the way to go about it. If this is happening at WrestleMania, that's the other thing, are they gonna do it over 3 months? Or are they gonna do it over 9 months or 7 months and bring it out to SummerSlam? Are they gonna? So but I think the meat's right here, and I say this way too often, but if they ran with all these things that are right in front of us right now, that at WrestleMania we can have such a hard reset that we can move into a new era of something to watch. A brand new playground, a brand new sandbox for all of Triple H's toys to really flourish. And that's something that happened this past year with the women's division kind of going on a reset, that if we can bring that same energy into Mania, that coming out of it, I mean, the tags divisions could look different on both men and women. The heavyweight title picture and the universal title picture can look different. Intercontinental title. We haven't even fantasy booked anything about, Gunther and how that's going to look going forward, and that's been such a massive part of Raw. Man, if they just pull the trigger on the hot stuff right now for the next 3 months, we really could just boom into a new era of what wrestling could be.
All right, with that, let's raise a glass and cheers to Fans First Sports Network. Pour another drink. I'm actually going to grab a piece of ice here in a second for bringing us another episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Let's talk about the rest of Raw. We covered it in some of the other parts here where we talked about Drew McIntyre just shitting on CM Punk's mouth, which was fantastic. Leading into Ciampa versus Finn Balor. Ciampa's walking out to the ring, cutting his promo. What did you see during this whole fucking thing?
I saw Johnny Gargano being a fucking clown.
A fucking clown, dude. Like, people don't behave that way, and you couldn't let your boy have a bit of the spotlight when it was all about him. Instead of being there to support him, kept waving down the camera, basically, hey, I'm right here. I don't have any lines, but look at me. This was like Three Amigos. Look up here.
Mm-hmm.
Look up here. Hey, you guys, look up here. That's Johnny Gargano in a nutshell. I just couldn't understand what his fucking problem is. All he had to do was respond a little bit. But instead of just nodding a little bit and agreeing, it was big head shakes. No, big yeses. Fucking ridiculous, dude. Like, this Johnny Gargano is like the absolute definition of, hey mom, look at me. Hey mom, I'm on TV. He's the dude when the news is trying to take a picture, take a little stand outside of a fucking incident that happened behind them. He's the dude who walks by and goes, huh? Hey, mom, hi, mom. Behind the fucking news anchor who's all like, we're working here. And he's like, but I'm on TV.
Right.
That's Johnny.
Right.
Just excited to be there. And to be honest, he fucking should be, because his days should be numbered.
There's an absolute difference between what he was trying to do and what he should have done, right? Like, if you're trying to emphasize what Ciampa was, why is it that every reaction, it's not just the head nods and the head shakes for the yes and no, it's the eyes, it's the mouth, it's the sarcastic nature in which he's so confident that everything Ciampa's saying is correct, that it's a foregone conclusion that they are the best of all time. And it's like, you haven't even fucking done anything.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no like what Ciampa was doing is he was building his character intensity to when he gets in the ring, this is going to be a fucking fight. And what Johnny did was like dumb all of that down
Yes.
because he was so distracting. You know, and it's like if there was some bit of believability, like think about Triple H and Shawn Michaels during the DX time, right? That's what Shawn Michaels did. He was the fucking clown to what Triple H was trying to get across. And then Triple H would clown as well. But all those mannerisms, that's Shawn Michaels shit. But you know what? Shawn Michaels was the fucking champion twice over.
Yeah.
He put on fucking clinics for years. And he was developing a new character off of his in-ring work and likability from the crowd. So again, I say when Johnny comes out and he looks up at the stands to try to find his mom so he can see somebody cheering for him, guess what? They're not there. So he hasn't earned the right to be this way. And nobody's afraid of him and nobody thinks. So he has what Drew McIntyre has, which is character unawareness as to who you actually are portraying when you do these things.
Yeah, dude, it's remarkable to me that I mean, fuck, dude. I mean, I've said it before. Like, whatever. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Everyone likes him. I don't like anything he does on TV. And if I go to a restaurant and the servers are shit, I don't think they should work there either. So that's just my take on it. I don't want people not able to take care of their kids, but at the same time, he's been hired by WWE for so long that if he can't, then he's a fuck up, not me.
Right. How much
He's made
more
so much more money than me. Like, let's go the Kevin Owens route. Yeah, he's
Right.
made so much more money than me. He has, for sure. And I'm not going to take that away from him. And I do think he should have action figures of him. I think he's done more than I ever need to see him do. And so I can't understand why you would strap an anchor like that to a guy like Ciampa, who does seem limitless.
And that's the thing, like, if Johnny's not making those faces behind him and just walking, how much more intense is what Ciampa said?
Yes.
Just don't make the faces. Just don't do
Just don't do
anything.
it.
Just walk. That's your boy.
Do it.
Stand beside him. Just don't fucking do it. But he has to. And it's bad.
Yeah. And then to make matters worse, Ciampa wins, but by interference with Johnny Gargano, so it undermines Ciampa's entire thing. Ciampa is a badass who can win on his own, but here I am, Gargano. I'm going to go ahead and cheat on his behalf because that's what good guys do.
And the bummer about it being, two former NXT champions, two-time former NXT champions, like they started telling that story and you watch these two guys go and then, a la the Usos interfering during a Sammy and KO match. Like I wanted to just see a good match and let it end because I'm bougie like that. Give me all the good stuff. That's what and it didn't help. It didn't help because even if they want to fuck with the Judgment Day, oh, you want the tag titles? Okay, well you still got Dom and JD to worry about, so don't go fucking around interfering with Judgment Day shit. You know what I mean? So it's not palatable, man. It's just not.
Yep, and I wasn't feeling it at all, but I did like the R-Truth stuff. Let's talk about that just for a second. R-Truth doing his backstage little vignette about being part of Judgment Day. I really did like the whole they were showing the clips where he's like, "You're not in the Judgment." He's like, "Sometimes they're a bit hard about stuff." Like it was so good. But again, I mean, it does fall into the idea of like truth is comedy. I've seen people try to say that someone said in one of my group chats this week, they thought that JD McDonough was trying to be the Sami Zayn to the Bloodline. And I was like, I think that JD McDonough is the Wheeler Yuta of the Bloodline. He's a dude who has to be there to take losses and can flip the fuck around. But I do think that they think that truth is the Sami Zayn for Judgment Day. But it doesn't connect that same way at all. Because I don't think they realized that Sammy was not comedy. He was so much more. And I think that truth is just comedy, which is fine. But that's just what he was.
Well, yeah, by adding Sami Zayn to the bloodline, it didn't lessen the value of their victories or their defeats or what have you. It raised their profile as a whole. It interjected comedy with "Are you feeling Usi?" Stuff like that. But it wasn't about that. It was about the palatability of the bloodline when it was drying out. This here with the Judgment Day, because I made a comment on Twitter that like this is devaluing the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And someone responded back, Matt Ritter from Smacking It Raw. He goes, "Well, it depends on if you think comedy devalues wrestling." And it's not that they're devalued from a overall, oh, they're not on the card anymore. Like they're devalued in their strength. And their strength was intimidation, and their strength was force, and their strength was how serious they are as a unit. And when you bring comedy into something that was serious, you devalue their overall strength. Nobody's intimidated of them anymore because they're fucking around with R-Truth when they should be fucking around with wrestling. So if you have a match like Dominic does, like JD does, and R-Truth is on the outside, that's a distraction. And it's showing. And when you put those cracks into Judgment Day, when by all means, during SummerSlam times, when Finn Balor was going for the title, and Damian Priest wasn't sure if he was going to cash in on Finn Balor, and you had this essence of cracks in the foundation that they overcame when they won the tag titles, that they lost and overcame when they won them back. Like they had these opportunities to show storyline cracks in the foundation of Judgment Day, to now bring in the comedy to distract Judgment Day from their overall focus. It's a letdown, and it devalues that strength for the sake of the comedy.
Yes.
Comedy in wrestling is awesome. But because this comedy is there and you call it a clubhouse and you play into, like even Finn Balor's doing it on Twitter, man, playing into the R-Truth stuff instead of telling him to stop it. Like you're lessening the intimidation. That's what's being devalued. Not their spot in the card. They're all over. They're all over Monday Night Raw. They're all over the place. The investment's there, but the actual how much I care or think they're going to win, it's been devalued by this comedy.
It has, and it's not that he's not good, and it's also, like I said, I think it's a gross misunderstanding of what the comedy was that Sami brought to the bloodline. He brought a levity that allowed the other characters to grow. He was able to show a side of Roman that didn't exist. He was able to show a side of Jimmy that created a tension with Jay. They were able to show a strength in Jay wanting to stand up against some of this stuff. Like, R-Truth just makes everyone else around him look funny too. And like, I love R-Truth, but like you said, I do feel like it completely diminished a lot of the badassery that was around the Judgment Day prior to this. Like, it just isn't what it was. So, I mean, here we are. I mean, I liked the video and it was funny, but that's what it was. It was
hysterical. It was so fucking funny. When I was born, I remember the day I was born, and I told the doctor one day, I'm going to be in the Judgment Day. It's fucking hysterical. And truth, it's fucking amazing. It's so amazing because he has the ability to say the most absurd things and believe what he's saying. Like, he never breaks on his own absurdity. You know what I mean? Like, he fully commits to the bit. It's fucking incredible. It's comedic timing that, I mean, even actors and stand-up comics wish they could have. It's so incredible performance art. I will take nothing away. They made, just like the B-Team shirt, they made the shirt of the it's in stores now, of R-Truth putting the tape on it and saying, "And R-Truth." And then they have another shirt that says, "Our slogan is live, laugh, love." Like, come on, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. And they're putting shirts with R-Truth in the Judgment Day because this is so entertaining. But this is the same Judgment Day that gave a concerto to Beth Phoenix. This is the same Judgment Day that ran Edge out of WWE.
Yep.
But it's not, because that seriousness just isn't there.
Mm-hmm. And that was the other thing that Roman always maintained, that there was a level of serious there.
Yes.
And there was even times where he had Jay around the corner and he was laughing. You not feeling oozy? And then all of a sudden they'd be pounding around Goffin, and all of a sudden he would just snap. You better start fucking feeling oozy and like shove him. You know what I mean? And then everybody's face drops, and then it's like, oh shit. Like there was a dynamic there that's just not here. This is just, isn't this funny? Let's all be funny. And this, I mean, honestly, it's reminiscent of the way in NXT, where it was how funny can we make funny with a bunch of people who don't really know how to be funny, and you got one guy who is funny. Like, you don't need this for the Judgment Day, not with where it's come from. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
But I love R-Truth, so I'm not going to say no less R-Truth. I will give you that. I watched the Hulu version. So Kofi Kingston versus Ludwig Kaiser ended in a double count out. I was not able to watch that. I did see an online thing where Kofi was kind of being carried out. That looked kayfabe to me. Was that?
Yeah. That's something that I actually like screamed at, and my kid who already went to bed came running out. There was a moment in there where I thought Kofi got ridiculously hurt.
Yeah.
And then they kept going, and they kept beating up Kofi's head. So they did a thing where you took out Giovanni Vinci, I'm going to take you out. So Ludwig Kaiser, got the one up on Kofi and really just beat the shit out of him. I don't remember the move that made me jump, but there was something in there that it looked fucking bad. And when they went to Kofi's face, like his eyelid looked a little different. So I was like, holy shit, did he actually get popped here? So yeah, man, I assume he's okay. But because after that happened, there was a moment where the drive-by that Roman does, but also they do as well. He did that to Kofi on the metal steps. So that was part of it as well. So they made it a point. And then Xavier Woods tweeted about, oh, you done fucked up now. So I guess that's where we're headed. We're getting this New Day Imperium thing happening.
I mean, I don't want to ever fantasy book Big E because it is what it is, and you want to let that guy heal. But if there's any little hint in here that we're getting the reunion of the trio, that warms my heart.
Yeah,
we'll
for
say
sure.
about that.
For sure.
They did a backstage segment with Becky trying to talk about her loss. I thought that whole thing was, again, I think we're saddling Becky with shit we don't need to be saddling Becky with. That's what it felt like. That was immediately followed up on my thing by Nia Jax coming to the ring and telling Michael Cole that she might punch him. And Rhea Ripley came out and talked some shit to Nia. It does feel like there is a world that they're building towards a Rhea versus Nia for Mania. Because they really like Nia at Mania. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I tell you, we talk ad nauseum about how much we don't like Nia, how much we want more for Becky, and I'd be remiss to say when Rhea's music hit, if I didn't pop, I was like, oh my god, this is fucking perfect. This is how we end the Nia of it, because I don't see a place where Nia ends up with the victory over Mommy because of how strong she's been in this run of Judgment Day. You know what I mean? So like we talked about it on episode 1. She's in men's storylines. She's in women's storylines. But if we can bring Nia back down and also get a good match out of it, then I do think this is the right direction to go. Mm-hmm. Because as it stands, like she's the only one that I think intimidates Nia enough from a face-to-face perspective. But unfortunately, just like Nia said, don't remember when I came back, I also took you out, which was a bummer back then as well, right? Like we remember when that happened. It's like, oh, she beat the shit out of Rhea too. So I don't see her taking the title off of Rhea at all, but I do think it's a good look at this moment to have that.
I don't think she's taking the title off of Rhea. I think she might be Rhea's opponent in WrestleMania for Rhea to win, to take on. Like if she could riptide Nia,
that'd be crazy. Yeah.
That's a moment.
Yeah.
But I just...
Well, I think... yeah, I hear you. And I honestly, again, we talked about in episode 1, Clump and I kind of went back and forth on it. Not too much, but just the fact that, Nia has a lack of palatability as is,
Mm-hmm.
but if she can perform, then things would be okay. She's just
Yes.
missing a lot on the performance.
Yeah.
So, you know,
That's how they do it. I'm going to clear up the chat real quick. Kuro jumping in, seeing me for the first time in a long time. He says he wants me to work his promotion when it comes back up. I've told him since it was the first time. I'm available a lot of the time.
shouts to Kuro.
Yeah, shouts to Kuro. Cheers to him. I don't even think he heard our fantasy booking. He probably figured out how the Rock and Randy thing could work out. So whatever, man. Carter and Chance defeated Green and Niven in the women's tag match. I saw some people a little critical of this one, and I didn't see that. I didn't feel that when I watched it. This to me seemed pretty fucking good, pretty tight. I thought Carter and Chance are phenomenal. I did think it was interesting and notable and nice that commentary even acknowledged that Carter and Chance come in as underdogs, even when they're the champion. And I forget who it was on the table that said it. If it was who's on the table now? I feel like they changed it up. Was Corey there with Michael Cole?
No, Wade.
Wade Barrett. And I believe it was Wade had said they were the longest running NXT champions. So you shouldn't count them out. Or maybe that's was Michael said that, and Wade was all like, "That's what I'm saying. Is even when they were the women's champion, we always felt like they were underdogs." Like,
Yeah.
it is an interesting dynamic for them to have. I think they look great. I like everything about their presentation, and I think they work great together. Their tandem offense is superb.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Young Bucks could learn a lot from them. I'm
Yeah.
going to say that for sure. The Young Bucks could learn a lot about tag team wrestling by watching Caden Carter and Chance Katana. Katana Chance?
Katana Chance, yeah.
Because what they do is tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
And their offense is tandem offense. And it's not just synchronized. They do some synchronicity. But this is what real gymnasts who are learning how to wrestle can fucking do when they're working together with that same mind mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've loved them from the beginning. We talked about that at nauseum on episode 1. I mean, even when those girls were in the Mae Young Classic, they both stood out. And it's funny because Kaden Carter's a jiu-jitsu black belt and rarely brings that stuff out. She does a lot of strikes and a lot of lower technical moves where, Katana does a lot of the high flying stuff. But they work great together. The only criticism I have is that their finishing move is called the keg stand. And
That's funny.
as much as they're party girls, their party girlness is about the aura, the essence of partying and what the vibe brings to you, like the energy of being free and open and with the music and all that. It has nothing to do with the drugs and the drinking and stuff like that, right? It's more about the environment in which, being around people and the energy of music could do. So calling it the keg stance, like that's the only thing that leads towards this is also what we do at parties. You know what I mean? So if they had a more creative name for it, but at the end of the day, I love them. They're great. Again, Chelsea Green, there's something with when she does the Unprettier that just, I mean, the head of the opponent's up way too high. Is she hooking the arms the wrong way? She's supposed to go under instead of up. Because I remember when Christian used to do it back in the day, heads would be at his lower back. She's got heads in her mid shoulders, and she's taller than these girls. So why are they standing up? Is that a Chelsea problem, not bringing them down? Is the girls not leaning over for her? That's kind of my only criticism of the match. I thought Piper looked great. So yeah, man, I'm glad that they got their rematch. So now the Katana and Caden can move on to the next level. Because as we saw during the match, the rest of the women's tag division on Raw, they were watching on screens.
That's true. I don't have anything to add to that. I think everything you said there was perfect. I thought that too about Chelsea Green. She's done so much this run. It's been ridiculous. This because I saw her in Impact and I was like, I don't quite see it. I get it. People like the hot mess thing. I wasn't into it because it felt a little indie-rific, but at the same time, you're kind of in an indie-rific area, so it's what's going to happen, right? her run in NXT, I thought was lackluster. Her constant injuries, I was like, look, guys, she's just snake bit and it's not worth it. I don't know what we're doing here. This go around, I'm like, oh, yeah, she's a star. And she's not, it's going to sound bad. I know people always take things to mean what I'm not saying, but she doesn't feel like main event WrestleMania, but she feels like got to be on the show.
1,000%. 1,000%.
How do we get her on the show? Feels like a conversation. How is she going to win the world title at WrestleMania? Does not, because she feels like necessary for the show.
Which is a perfect place to be.
I don't think it's a bad deal, dude. I don't. I know everyone's got their dreams, and that's the big thing. Everyone, oh, how could you want any of these people to get fired? It's their dream to work there. Okay, well, we don't all get our dreams all the time. You also have to realize that sometimes you can pivot and also be happy with getting close enough, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure she dreams of closing out WrestleMania one day, and I just don't know that that's her path. But I think that what she's providing to the show is so fucking phenomenal, and it's so much more than a lot of people provide. That I think that if she was unhappy with where she was, that'd be a shame. But I also agree that she probably has a drive for more, and I think that's exactly why she's as good as she is.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Kiro says his identity was stolen, which is why it's not up and running right now. Which, yeah, I heard about that, but I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have your identity, dude. I didn't find it. No. I checked Craigslist and everything, dude. I looked.
That's fair.
And then says she's not Chelsea Green. She's one half of the Matt Cardona. I want Cardona back so bad, dude.
I tell you what, when you look at everything that's happening, and we're so flooded with talent, man, that's one thing that people need to stop taking for granted with all these shows. Like, we're flooded with talent. That's why a Gargano doing that is so obvious when he acts that way, because of how talented everything else is, right? Yeah. And shouts to Chelsea Green for doing the Rough Rider. It looked awesome.
Yep.
It looked incredible, which again speaks to her athleticism. I think, though, to what I was just saying, it's the perfect time for him to come back.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect time for Matt Cardona to come back.
Do you think, because I have a hunch that he wants to come back, but I have a hunch that and this is not because I have inside information, I have a hunch that he wants to come back but refuses to come back as Zack Ryder. And I have a hunch that they said that their push is, but we are the Zack Ryder show. Like,
right.
There is no Matt Cardona here. And I know that you can always make the argument, hey, if Max Dupree can come out and say, nah, you can always do something, but there's a lot of history with Zack Ryder that's actually good history.
Really good history, yep.
To maintain that. I don't know if they'd be willing to budge on the idea of like, look, we'll let you do everything you do right now, the way you want to do it, obviously with our creative. However, you're going to be named Zack Ryder. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's where the heads are going to butt. That's my hunch. And I think that it's a shame. In my mind, I think he's probably right, but I think it's a shame because I think that if it was me, I'd buckle and say, fuck it, bring back bring back Zack Ryder, but make him better than ever.
That's the move. Yeah.
Yeah, because even his Matt Cardona logo is the Zack Ryder font.
Yeah.
In the same way, it's the MC, the same as Zack Ryder. So every argument he has on why it shouldn't be Zack Ryder, to me, is also like, but that's also why it's fine to be Zack Ryder.
That's
you know
that exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the point. And to your CM Punk point, right? Like it fares in the same way. Like you had said, although he's back and gets cheers, when they said you still got it at a wrestling show, it's because AEW only gets 1 million people watching.
Yeah.
We're getting double, triple that on WWE. Well, Matt Cardona had one AEW match. He's had Impact and GCW and all that shit. Sorry, guys. When he steps out the curtain, he could have made 10 times the amount on the indies. And congratulations, bro. He's putting in work. He's been the talk of the internet since he's left. Fantastic. On WWE television, you're not Matt Cardona ever. It just won't, because he hasn't had enough exposure elsewhere to even for us to recognize that he's Matt Cardona. Like you said, we are the Zack Ryder show. And it would be great. It'd be awesome. And he can be bigger. He can be faster. He can be stronger. He can be more main event. He can stop coming out with the headbands and shit because he doesn't have to anymore. He can do muscle tees and shit, like you said. Play Matt Cardona as Zack Ryder. Do that. Yeah, you're 100% correct there. And he it's funny because he was part of the hating on Tony Khan's take, because Tony Khan saying that Jinder hasn't won in a year. How could he possibly be viable for the championship or whatever? And then Matt Cardona tweeted on top of that, Kurt Hawkins lost 283 matches in a row until we won the tag titles at WrestleMania, and the crowd went nuts. Basically saying what we've been saying all the time. Tell a fucking story, man. Tell a fucking story. Tell a story, man.
Tony's all like, wait, you guys got a reaction? How do you elicit a reaction? I thought you just book on paper.
I thought you just give everybody what they want.
Tony's all like, who's ever done anything for a reaction? No one even wants reactions around here. That's not what we're looking for.
They just want to say, yeah.
Yeah. All we want is tables. That's all the crowd wants. Kiro says Dolph Ziggler's name if he returns would be Nick Nirvana. That'd be funny, but I still think he'd come back as Ziggler. And he said that he pitched the same thing for Cardona. I think you bring Cardona back. He's got to fucking. I think that there's a point where you got to bend the knee a little bit and say, okay, I'll be Zack Ryder, but it's not going to be the Zack Ryder. New music.
Yeah.
You know, I need new music. I need no headbands. I'm not spiking my hair. This is what I look like. This is what we're doing. This is how I talk. But I'll just use the moniker. And I think that that's a place where both parties can come to and say, yes, because what you're doing as Matt Cardona is better than anything we did with Zack Ryder. However, we don't want the Zack Ryder history gone because we want to be able to call back to it. We want to get you in a ring with fucking Drew McIntyre and call back to how a long time ago you guys screwed him in something or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember what they did. You know, we want to bring back Kane and we want him to kick your ass because he kicked your ass before. I mean, I don't know.
Right. And look, Zack Ryder's a tag team champion. Zack Ryder's an intercontinental champion. Matt Cardona's not. There's no lineage. There's no history. Like to Kuro's point, there's zero chance Dolph Ziggler comes back as any other name. Not only because he's not going to have the opportunity, but the history of who Dolph Ziggler is more important than any new name that could be put on it.
Yes. Changing Max Dupree to LA Knight is not a big deal because Max Dupree didn't accomplish anything. He never even had a match.
Right. And LA Knight had a WWE history.
LA Knight had a history in NXT where he won things.
That's why Walter to Gunther was such a big deal, because Walter had extensive history in WWE proper. Well, not proper, but he was on pay-per-view in WWE proper. And he, NXT and NXT UK.
And had an elite action figure out on the shelf at the time that said Walter. So I was a little bit different. But yeah, I think I want him back. I want Cardona back. Actually, Cardona's coming to Phoenix here in the next couple months. I'm gonna try and make it out there. So we'll see. Did we talk enough about Jinder and Seth Rollins earlier? That's what happened here.
We just skip right over Miz and McDonough.
Oh yeah, Miz McDonough happened, but I wasn't paying any attention to it because I could not care less. So unless there's something happened there that you are interested about.
Well, it's so R-Truth didn't come out during the Finn and Damian part of it, but he is sticking around the Dom and JD part of it, which is okay, but you're still not showing strength enough on the other sides of Judgment Day. But R-Truth causing a distraction and Miz pointing at him and stuff. It's I tell you what, it's actually nice to see Miz get babyface cheers, because he's been in the business for 20 fucking years and he deserves some type of love and that acknowledgement of appreciation. You know what I mean? I know you don't like him, but
I disagree. He hasn't earned love at all. Matter of fact, I hope his family doesn't love him.
Well, that was the story for a while. His daddy didn't.
That's a good point. That was the story there. And the fans didn't either. When fucking the Fiend showed up and fucking tried to steal his child, they cheered. So,
such a dick. Oh man. It's you know what? Real quick to the CM Punk McIntyre part of it. That was one thing I said. I was like, wait a second. CM Punk, did he turn babyface in Marsha's house? Because it was a shit on Drew McIntyre, but it's CM Punk. So he must have liked the McIntyre part. And I was just like, wait a second. He didn't even watch.
Yeah. You even watch it. No, I mean, honestly, Punk could have turned babyface if he was at least honest. He came off like a lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
And Drew came like he came from a place of authenticity where it's like, okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
And that's what we talked about for a long time. For 4 years of episode 1s, we've talked about be authentic and we will love you. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And when we talked about it back then, that was the shame of Seth Rollins, is he doesn't come off authentic. He just doesn't. And I feel like that he's just very guarded because I feel like that he's very I feel like he's very insecure and he doesn't need to be. As a performer, he's very insecure. He wants the crowd to react the way he wants them to react. And if they don't, he takes it personal. I think that's why he tries so hard, because I think he does. I think it's why he's so guarded and we all smell it on him. You're not being authentic.
No, that's such a great point, because how many times do we watch him go out there and just wrestle flawlessly? But the next week, it's like he definitely goes, well, didn't you guys just love what I did? Didn't you guys just love what I did? And honestly, when his first run, when he won the title at WrestleMania with the cash-in, all that J&J security stuff, he was being a heel like a motherfucker and getting massive cheers. So through that character run, there was an authenticity to the character that he was portraying. With here, where he's just a guy who is the best at what he does. I'm the best at what I do. Well, wait, you're just wrestling the same. So what's happening? Wait, what are we watching? Yeah. So that disconnect there because of the lack of authenticity. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so what do you think of the Jinder Seth Rollins stuff? Do you think it's just good enough to have busy work through Rumble?
I think that's what they're going for. But if you ask me, I say you strap that motherfucker onto Jinder and make a story out of this. Make someone care. Make Seth pissed that he doesn't have it. Have Punk cost him.
Yeah.
Have Punk walk out and do something and wave. And then fucking Seth go, get the fuck out of here. And that's when Jinder catches him with the fucking clutch behind his back. Fucking slam him, take it, and a clean win. And have Seth pissed. You fucking cost me that title. Oh, do you want to have a match? No, I'm going back to get my title. You don't mean as much to me as that does. You know what I mean? And have him go back and get that title. But if it's just going to be another Seth Rollins match where he just wins again, I'm just not interested. It's fine. You have your 30-minute matches every fucking show, and you do your moves in the right order at the right time, and you win, and everyone goes, yep, he won. And that's the feeling I get watching Seth Rollins matches.
So kind of like watching Cody matches.
Except Cody's so good. Did you see Cody's going to be some dude's best man?
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. Yeah.
I was watching. I was like, I fucking hope Bishop's watching this shit right now. Just fucking eat it, dude. What a baby face move. You're telling me that's not superstar of the year? He's not the Cena of his time? Like, come on. He sees a dude with a sign and goes, I'll fucking be there. And you know what? He's going to fucking be there. It's so sick. Your son is so cool.
Dude, my kid asked me, is it okay if I'm a CM Punk fan? I said, why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think he's cool.
Talking about.
I said, you could like whoever you like. Just tell me why you like him. I just haven't seen anything about CM Punk to like. Is it just because a lot of people cheer for him?
I just imagine that you're looking down and he says that, and you slowly look up. You go, who the fuck put you up to this, kid? Who are you working for?
I agree with you, though. I think no, you definitely wouldn't feed him that shit. You wouldn't be that rude to me.
Yep.
No, I love your idea of Jinder beating Seth. I think we might have talked about it on an episode 1 before, but Jinder being a former champion just means that anytime he's in the ring with a champion, he can win that title because he's champion. That's the best reason to make anyone a champion, but especially Jinder at that time. That hey, it didn't quite work with Randy, right? It was very funky. And as they were leading towards a Brock Lesnar match at Survivor Series ago, you know what? we gotta get AJ this title. Then we get that awesome AJ Styles Brock Lesnar match, right? So I do like it here, though, that this is the weight. This is the weight of Jinder being a champion, because once he was a champion, he'll always be a champion. So him beating Seth would be so awesome, because you know what he's going to be? A 2-time champion. Just like The Miz is a 2-time Grand Slam champion. And I would love to see this happen. And to your point, man, giving Seth something to be fucking pissed off about would be awesome.
Dude, what makes Jinder a better champion than Miz and Jericho is that they won in super shitty ways, but Jinder never did. When Jericho says, I beat The Rock and Steve Austin in one night, it's because the other guys were interfering in both those matches. When Miz says, I beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, it's because The Rock came out to start his program with John Cena. Like, you did a W as a W. Jinder beat Randy Orton for the title by putting that fucking clutch on him.
And even when the Bollywood boys would interfere, they would catch RKOs.
They would catch the RKOs, dude.
Yeah.
And how did he win? His finish.
Yep.
The other guys were pinning guys on their other finish. Let me scramble over there and get the pin. Jinder won because his move fucking kills people. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think Jinder as a legitimate threat to the championship is fucking phenomenal. It's fantastic. Like, yeah, keep it going. Like, and let's make that more real now than ever. Take that title off of Seth in the middle of a Raw. Like, don't even close the show with it, dude. Just do it in the middle.
Crazy.
So people go like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening?
That'd be crazy.
Shake people up.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and even have it so Seth is doing it. It was like, let's just get it over with. We don't need to wait till the main event.
Right.
Have Seth be nonchalant about it. It's just Jinder.
Dude, it'd be the ultimate fuck you to AEW. To
He's
just
so fucking sick.
Dude, drop the title to Jinder because he's a legit champion. And then just keep posting and posting. 2-time WWE champion. Oh,
dude, he should win with Hook's finish.
Yes. What is it? What is it?
Taz is the Taz choke. The
cross-face chicken wing type thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Like straddling the back kind of a deal. Kiro does say, though, I have a serious question. Who the fuck is Hook? You're right, dude.
Yep.
Who the fuck is Hook?
Love it. Dude, somebody put the meme up there of Hook next to Tony Khan and then Jinder in the Conor McGregor spot when he was saying that about one of the UFC fighters. Yeah. I forgot his name. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, they did that with Jinder. It's amazing because it's the hysterical part is like at the end of the day, Tony Khan's a rich kid, and 99% of rich kids don't know how to shit talk. So because he never had to fight through poverty and insults because he was a rich kid, he has no clue what it's like to fight back with your words before you have to fight back with your hands. That's why he was scared for his life when CM Punk is just throwing hands. And it's CM Punk. Like, come on. So the fact that he likes to shit talk, and then as soon as somebody can shit talk him back, just cat paw your microphone.
Yeah.
But no, the fact that he's
fighting.
As soon as somebody can shit talk him back, he just gets buried because you just don't know. You just don't know.
Dude, Tony Khan comes back with well, actually, if you think about it, consider the magnitude of... It doesn't come off like you're talking shit. It comes off like you're stretching the truth. Even that whole bullshit he said about we're the safest company in the wrestling industry ever, that was a statistician saying if you average 50 years of complaints over the last 50 years per year per capita of employee, we have the least number of per capita complaints per year over the last 50 years comparatively to other companies that existed that entire 50 years. Like, he's trying to stretch his number to include years he didn't exist. And that's what it sounded like.
Right. He went from overall TV rating to demographic rating to cage match ratings.
Yes.
Like, it's just...
Look, our TV ratings aren't what they used to be, but our cage match ratings, like, come on, they're killer.
It's just the fucking... what's it? You can't add logic to a little illogical situation. You can't convince crazy people. Like it's an argument not worth having, because I say this about a lot of people in a lot of fields. If you ask a question and I give you an answer, but then you extend the goalpost and ask the question in another way, like I'm done with the conversation. Like if I go, I don't like, why don't you like Ric Flair? Well, because I didn't think his in-ring work was good. Oh, well, he won 14 titles. He must have been good. No, that's not what you asked. So I'm not going to continue having this argument because you want to continue to change the goalposts. And that's all Tony Khan does. Change the goalposts, change the goalposts. Just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. He literally, dude, I'm telling you, I even asked other people, does this sound to you like he's saying if you average over a 50-year time span? And everyone is like, yes, that's exactly what it sounds like he's saying, is that per year, over a 50-year average, they will have less per year because they only existed for 3. He's so fucking funny, dude. I just can't wait for the photos to surface of him with wet pants. There's no way he doesn't pee himself sometimes. Hulu cut out Ivar against Otis, but I see Ivar won, and all I could think is the Beef Planet massacre that was.
Yeah, 2 beef planets colliding, and they continue to show really fun stuff. Ivar jumps off the top rope, and Otis catches him, and that was awesome.
That's insane.
But yeah,
like caught him.
Caught him. Like
that's fucked up.
Caught him, and cross body style caught him, and then into a World's Strongest Slam. It was great.
So it was kind of like taking a meatball sub and squishing it into a hamburger.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I would eat a meatball sub squished into a flat hamburger.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Just not if it started as a beef planet.
Well, because for one, the meatball sub's a little phallic.
That's true.
Once you squish it,
when he catches them, it's not like a funky, roll with it and drop him. It was a catch, turn to hard camera, bang.
That's fucking insane.
Dude, it was nuts.
Caught Ivar crossbody in the air. Just fucking boom. It's fucking insane. That's the kind of shit I do to Clump just to see if he can if his knees won't give out. You know what I mean?
It was nuts. Yeah, find the highlights of that. You'll enjoy it.
I'm gonna go watch that match now because I just imagine the slap sound that happened in that moment. Just a crack of a belt, kind of a leather snapping. Just you know
what I
mean?
What does it sound when 2 beef planets collide?
Yes. Yeah. I almost imagine that as he comes up from the slap, right, that their belly buttons. You know what I mean? Just a moment as he gets up from the pin where their belly buttons had to have squished together, creating an air pocket. Yeah, a belly button kiss happened, and it was oily and delightful.
Well, to be fair, both belly buttons were covered, so I'm sorry for spoiling that for you.
All right. Well, if it wasn't, you know what I mean? Kuro was trying to say that Evolve was around 9 years ago before WCW divided by them. AEW better hurry because they only have 4 years left. Evolve was never on the level of AEW as far as monetary stability. I'm not trying to say that AEW is viable business-wise, but they just have enough money that they can say no to people who say, we'll buy you out. That's all. Main event time. Cody Rhodes defeated Shinsuke Nakamura in a street fight where within 1 minute the crowd started chanting, "We want tables," because they also knew that this match was happening for no reason. Shinsuke's a badass. Cody's the ultimate babyface. This was America versus Japan. This was 1945. This was incredible. This was Tora. Let's fucking get it. Shinsuke spits blood all over the timekeeper. Probably his first day on the job. Probably peed himself a little. Look, it wasn't a bad main event. Didn't feel like a main event. But it was a match I've been wanting to see. So, win some, lose some kind of a deal. But Cody wins them all. He doesn't lose some. What do you think?
It's my turn?
Yeah, what'd you think?
I got worked by the timekeeper. I was like, oh, that's weird. He's still standing in the way. Like, why aren't you moving? Cody got him out the chair, and why are you just standing there? That's weird. Oh, that's why. Take a face full of mist.
Yeah.
But here's something that I actually loved about that spot. There's layers to the in-match storytelling that they had to build to a point where Cody needs a chair. So
Yeah.
Cody can get the chair from the timekeeper, so the timekeeper can be there for when Shinsuke spits the mist. That type of building in matches is something that you don't see anywhere else. Anywhere else, and I absolutely love that part of it. I was like, man, I went on that complete ride, and it all had to tie together to make sense. So I love that. I thought that spot was amazing. Other than that, yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough because you want to see Shinsuke continue to grow and be someone worth winning matches. And I personally want to see Cody lose. But if you continue to put the biggest obstacles in front of him and he wins, well, then he's 99 overall in every category. He got attacked in the beginning of the night. They turned it into a street fight. So that means Shinsuke can do whatever nefarious thing he wants to, and Cody still wins. It's like, well, then Cody's going to always still win. There's nothing to watch for because you know the outcome, and the outcome is Cody still wins. So, okay.
Yeah, it can be tough. I think that's why I didn't pay super close attention to it, because I knew Cody was going to win this, because a lot of people described it too. I saw in some of my group chats where they were like, oh, this was just Cody's side quest. And we were like, oh, I like that. Oh, that sounds good. I was like, no, that's fucking video game shit. We shouldn't like that. We shouldn't have what is clearly a side quest. But Cody Rhodes, for better or for worse, likes to book his own little stories video game style, and other people are feeling it. And so they're going with it, because the other thing is it's fucking working, man. The dude's selling fucking merch. Like, it's working. So, like, as much as I didn't feel for this whole thing, I'm like, well, you probably sold some Shinsuke shirts and some fucking more Cody belts. Like, if it didn't work for the crowd, I'd be like, okay, we got to change it up. But it's like, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it's not working for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I 100% agree. I mean, even during the Boozies, you gave Cody your superstar of the year, right? Because of stuff like this, where he's going to bring the eyeballs, he's going to bring the emotion, he's going to bring in a section that's absolutely going to go bananas when he overcomes this obstacle. And that's great, because for wrestling fans, we all like different aspects of what wrestling is. But for WWE, they're sports entertainment on a level that we can't imagine.
Yeah.
Titus O'Neil will always have a place in WWE for what he does outside. Boys and Girls Club, all these things that happen within WWE are so much more important than bell to bell. So when Cody's doing this bell to bell overall victory stuff that's going to happen every single time, I'm so bummed out, because I don't necessarily need all that other stuff. I don't need that stuff. But it's stuff like this that allows all that other stuff to exist, So I get that, but for my watching pleasure, I want to see this guy lose and have that little kid crying. Not that I want kids to cry, but the visual of the thing Cody has to overcome, not just his loss, but the letdown to the fans that want him there. So,
I've heard
we
got making kids cry. I've heard that.
No, but we got that for one night after WrestleMania, and then Brock Lesnar F5s him, and then we don't soak in that moment. You know what I mean? So it's like,
well, he lost the first match against Brock Lesnar, got choked out. So it was kind of like, fuck, is Cody going to get through this? From a real kayfabe standpoint, not from a smart fan standpoint, obviously.
Well, so that's the thing. Even if it was a choke out, I'd be fine with that. But it was a pass out to Kimura Pain.
It's so it was
still. No, it's a. Anyway, well, I've said enough about that bullshit. That's all. I think we both agree that the Titan level, 99 overall Cody that's happening makes it hard to invest in what's going on, because the outcome is he's going to win. So if it was a little bit deeper, then or thought that he could lose, it'd be better to watch the entire thing or easier to watch the entire thing.
And I feel like that's not a Cody thing. That's a them thing, because I do feel like that there's a lot of ways to put Cody in peril where he wins that feels like we're doing something bigger here. Or is this going to be his offset where we're giving him stuff where we go, well, clearly he's going to win this. You don't put him in a program with Shinsuke with us thinking, I don't know, Shinsuke might pull it out. Shinsuke's been fucking losing everything for 4 years straight. You know what I mean?
But he's never in a position in a match, besides the Brock Lesnar stuff, to be fair, he's never in a position in a match where you think that's going to happen. If he got handcuffed here to the ropes, you might go, holy shit, this might happen. But there's never a match where he's in that position. That's
apart from Brock. And so I was thinking that's what made the Brock one so good. That's why we still talk about the Brock matches, or have to say except Brock and all that stuff, because that was so well done. The rest of it has all felt like simple side quests. This is just a little match I got to have. This is a little couple matches I'm going to have, whatever. I'm going to do an open challenge. It's all cutesy. Get the wins and look good and let the fans see you wrestle. But as far as like investment in, does this feel important? We're not there with him in this moment, especially not with Shinsuke. And it's not a fault of either guy trying to put on a good show. It's the fault of the way they've been booked. Is there's not one moment where you think that Shinsuke is going to be Cody, right? But there are moments where you think Brock could be Cody. And if Cody beats Brock here, that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like, Cody needs to be in bigger rivalries at this point. He needs to be more, and he maybe needs to lose one and then really have to fucking bring himself back up. Like, I don't know, but this close to WrestleMania, though, I think that we're all right. I think that depending on what he does with Elimination Chamber, I feel like that he wants to win back-to-back, and I think there's a really good chance they do that because it hasn't happened since Steve Austin. But I don't know. My gut tells me you give that Rumble win to somebody else and you give him the Elimination Chamber win. Except for the person who wins the Rumble would then have to challenge for Cody, which is why you end up giving it to like a fucking Punk or something. And I don't think Punk should win it.
Well, so they could still do number one contender in Elimination Chamber. They've done that before for the Roman side of it. My problem with Cody winning Elimination Chamber is that he physically overcomes 5 other guys. Where
not necessarily. If some of them are eliminated before him, or
and I get that too. But
although they probably book him first.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and he's character crazy enough to say, and I'll go in there first. But that's what, again, to your point, the booking of it's like, okay, he's going to go in first and have to overcome. The literal overcoming of 5 guys is a lot more of that. I'm going to show you how resilient Cody is, where the Rumble is an endurance battle where I don't have to, not one person has ever thrown 29 guys over the top rope, but that's what they all say in the fucking promo, right? Like the most eliminations is like 29. 7, right? Yeah. And half of those you have help with someone. So, it's never that. The Brock stuff was cool. I think he had 9, right? Or maybe he had 7 and then he got eliminated, at 10. But anyway,
I think the record right now is like 11 or 12.
Okay. So the endurance battle of the Royal Rumble and Cody winning, it was a bummer last year because it was so predictable. But now interjecting Drew and CM Punk and others who have that other thing, cool. Like that feels like more of a fun thing to do. And to have Cody do it, it's like, okay, well, now go take advantage of your story. I would love to see that win and then him challenge Randy because Randy won the belt that night. And then Elimination Chamber can be a whole nother fun story. But if he physically gets through 5 guys, it's just as bad as Roman stacking 3 of them at the Royal Rumble to win, in my opinion.
The way that Paul Heyman was cutting his promo about smashing this guy, smashing that one, I just kept thinking smashing him and thumbing him, thumb him and smash him, thumb him. Like it kept to me just being the sneaky little thumb. And I do think that there's a possibility. There is a world where Roman stacks and thumbs and smashes and gums them, Like I think that there's a possibility he's just mounting them all. So a lot of people think that that Roman's going to take the title all the way through WrestleMania and beyond. I just feel like you have so much on the table right now with so many guys, and I do know that there's always the what's next, but for the better part of a year now, Roman's been in cruise control in a lot of ways, and the peak of Roman's entire storyline has been the Sami Zayn arc, and everything since then has felt less than. And we want to keep talking about what's next, but also there's a matter of what next and why do I care, right? So with Roman right now, like the big thing is like, but he can break this record. I just don't know that I care enough to see a record broken.
Yeah.
I'm already disenchanted by the whole Roman thing, but the Rock edition is interesting, right? Well, that's a story I'm into, and I do get that. Hey, you have levels, and the Rock and Roman with a title on the line is more than Rock and Roman without a title on the line. And if there's no title on the line, then it's still going to headline. Even if it doesn't headline, it's the match that everyone's going to talk about. There's all that. The thing is I think about the way WrestleMania gets booked. And 36 was booked in a way, the New York one, where I said, it was our premiere episode 1. I said WrestleMania 36 was a love letter to the fans. Every single match was because we love you. I remember after this last WrestleMania that we just had, I came on and said, this was a love letter to the boys. This is because we love each other and love what we do. Nothing here felt like it was anything bigger than, what do you want to do? What would you want your match to be? This didn't feel like it was for the fans at all. So I do think Triple H is one of the boys, dude. There is every possibility that he does stuff for the fans, but also is willing to do things for the boys. I do think we have the possibility of a world where he understands the fans want Roman Rock, but the boys want Cody, Randy. And I do think we can end up with kind of all. And I don't know if it meshes well. I don't know that if it lives in hindsight perfectly, but I don't think it can be discounted simply because, it's The Rock and he's the biggest. Yeah, kind of. But to the WWE fans right now, The Rock, is he selling more t-shirts off their website than Cody? I just don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I could see a world where we end up with a fucking crazy Mania, and that's what excites me about this. Is we've speculated a ton about how you can get it on Randy. I've seen other people speculate about how you never take it off of Roman. At the end of the day, none of them don't sound good. They all sound like good, cool options. It's just fantasy booking Roman to continue to hold it isn't fun. You know what I mean? That's the only thing about it. Go ahead.
That's why when we were fantasy booking on here about Roman losing to Randy, and then your immediate response was, all right, cool, then we can leave him off of Mania this year to give that big beat, of okay, now that redemption arc for Roman after losing the title, the whole fucking promo package of what he's been doing for a year to just get fucking AJ Styles yoked up, right? And then The Rock comes out and it's like, well, it's now perfect. It's now perfect because even a fucking loss to The Rock sends the tribal chief in a tailspin. And that's just, it's gone now, or a win over Rock. And then he's crying because although he proved The Rock right, he's still wrong because he doesn't have the title. Like, there's so much more emotional investment that can come after that it's now the right opportunity. So I don't know if I can get too meta into how it's booked. I do think Triple H, though, loves driving his narrative regardless.
Yeah.
And if the payoffs come with, well, this is what they want or this is what they want, that's okay as long as we can build next, right? Like Sammy and KO winning the titles. I mean, to be fair, I wish it meant more afterwards than it did at Mania. And to your point, like the peak of peaks was the Sami Zayn match for Roman Reigns. I mean, that was my match of the year last year. But the cap on the soda bottle, they filled it all the way up with Sami Zayn. Yep. They put the cap on once he beat Cody. It's like, okay, he is now absolutely above everyone else. It's Roman and then the entire roster. And this right now, I mean, it's lining up, man. It's the perfect opportunity to now take Roman and put him on the side of the roster. He is now John Cena. He is now The Rock. He is now Steve Austin. He is now Hulk Hogan. He is now that music hits. Oh my God, we have him back. There's more work to do, but that's the lane you put him in because he now isn't required to have a title. He isn't required to be in main storylines. He is now the legend Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely more work to do, but that's if you put him on that side and continue to go, he's now an attraction. He's now special. Then, hey, I think this is the fucking perfect opportunity to have it happen. Because anything past this moment, it's definitely too long.
I feel like so too. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm ready for last call.
Let's do it.
You want to tell me where to find you?
Yes, sir. At TW Takes Podcast on Twitter, twtakespodcast.com for all audio platforms. Check me out. I will be dropping another episode soon. I got some ideas about this whole TKO company that's happening for a little while now, and I'll be throwing those thoughts out there in the next couple days.
Oh yeah, and I'm at Ref Marsh on Venmo. We are WOTR the show, Wrestling on the Rocks on all of the premium social medias. And guys, I think we'll be back tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1. That's last call.
Cheers.
Producer Lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support and buy us a drink by putting the I in subscribe and reviewing our podcast. And cheers to Fans First Sports Network for keeping the dive bar lights on.
I would never have a drink with